Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box, and in that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, it's been an interesting week. We finally got some rain in Georgia, which is actually pretty nice. And, as you can tell by the name of the title for this live stream this week is Armyworms are causing a problem for a lot of people this time of year. It's kind of funny. I remember, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, we had armyworms really bad in the fall. And then you had like last year, there really wasn't too much of an issue. But it seems to go in cycles, right? And this year they are back. They are back with a vengeance. A lot of folks in Georgia are getting hit with them. Folks in other parts of the country. So we'll chat about that a little bit tonight, as far as what you can use to get rid of armyworms, how to prevent them in your lawn, like insecticides that will work well for that. And then also I've got a blog post to share with you guys on the entire topic is on armyworms. So as always, we're coming to you guys with YouTube as our primary platform, but you can also watch the live stream on Instagram and also Meta. So hopefully tonight the Meta or the Instagram cooperates with us. We'll see how well that works. And just really looking forward to having you guys, ask lots of great questions so we can have a fun show. It's football season, guys. NFL actually kicked off yesterday, right? Was it like the first game was yesterday? So my team so far is doing pretty good. All right, let's get into the first question of the evening. Mr. Jason Harrison is up next. He says, hope everyone is surviving the armyworm infestation of 2024. Aceleprint is holding strong so far. Love the people at Syngenta for creating it. Yeah, man. So to Jason, I could have asked for a better segue into the talking points. Yeah, armyworms again, are creating more of a problem this year than this time last year. And as far as how to get rid of them, if you're dealing with them in your lawn, the insecticide that I recommend is a product called Acelepryn. There's different products out there, but Acelepryn is very nice from a standpoint of it's very effective against armyworms, but it's also quite effective against any kind of turf caterpillar, grubs, annual bluegrass weevils, bill bugs, pretty much any lawn damaging insect you can think about. Acelepryn has got pretty good coverage over them. I mean, there's a few things that it doesn't cover, like I think Bermuda mites, but for the most part, what most of you guys are going to be dealing with as far as lawn damaging insects, Acelepryn's got you covered. As far as how to use it, there's been a couple of questions I've gotten in this past week on what should be better to go with. Is it the granular, the liquid, which version is best for you? And to be honest, it really depends on which you prefer. Like what is your preferred method of application? So I'll show you what I'm talking about really here. If we go to the golf course lawn store shop and then go to insecticide, fungicide, Acelepryn comes in two versions. We have Acelepryn G, which is a granular, covers around 21,000 square feet. And then you have Acelepryn SC, the suspension concentrate, which covers 22,000 square feet. So for all intents and purposes, they cover the same amount. I personally use Acelepryn SC more frequently than I use Acelepryn G, mainly because whenever I apply Acelepryn, I can also, if I'm doing my pre-emergent this time of year, which is the time of year for doing that, like I've already got my pre-emergent done, I can add this to the tank and get it all out at one time. But as far as effectiveness, either one of these are going to work equally well. So it's really your preference. The thing is, you'll apply this, and the product has a pretty good residual in that, for the next few months, you're gonna have control over armyworms and other lawn damaging insects. So highly recommend it as far as an insecticide if you're worried about armyworms or you suspect you have armyworms. An easy way to tell if you have armyworms in your lawn is if you take get like a bucket or a jar or whatever it happens to be, and put some dish soap in it, some Dawn, and pour it out on the lawn and just wait a few minutes, and you'll see them coming to the surface. That's a good indication. You'll visually see them, and then you're going to want to get an insecticide. Again, my preference is Acelepryn out to clean that up, because unlike a lot of other lawn damaging insects, like grubs are pretty bad. But grubs can take time to for the damage that they cause to really show up in a lawn. Once you confirm you have armyworms, they can destroy a lawn really quickly. So a lot of the work that you've put in over a course of a few days, you can see a lot of damage to your lawn if you allow armyworms to run rampant. So I highly recommend that you do something as far as getting a preventative out. Even if your neighbors have them, you don't want, I mean, it's not like they know, like, oh, this is Ron's lawn, I'm already on, his neighbor's lawn, I'm just going to stay over here. They have no concept of boundaries, really. So if people in your neighborhood are having issues with it, it's just a matter of time before you have the same problem. So I'd highly recommend that you put out an insecticide. Acelepryn is the one that really I would recommend and use. If you want some more reading about armyworms, I'll link a blog post that we did and recently updated, because they've become a thing this year again. And hopefully you guys will get some value out of that. So this is the blog on armyworms. Actually, I'm going to do it right here so everyone else can get to it too. Blog post on armyworms. And, pretty much the TLDR, if you just want to know how to get rid of them, you got the problem in your lawn, is get Acelepryn, apply it, and win. That's the long short of the matter. If you want to learn more about them, how to identify them, what to look for, what they look like there's like a little video clip in there that shows like what armyworms on the lawn actually look like, in case you want to confirm it. And yeah, so hopefully you guys get some value out of that. And Jason, I agree with you. I think that folks at Syngenta did a great job with Acelepryn. And one other benefit of that insecticide, again, is not only does it offer excellent control, but as far as an insecticide that is as eco-friendly as an insecticide can be, meaning that it doesn't harm invertebrates, or has a limited harm against invertebrates like earthworms, and is also more gentle to pollinators, Acelepryn does that. So if you're more environmentally conscious and you want something that's going to be effective so your lawn doesn't get destroyed, but at the same time want to be a good steward, Acelepryn is an excellent choice. So hopefully you guys get some value out of that. The blog post I've posted in the chat, so hopefully you guys will, again, be able to read that and keep your lawn looking nice, right? Because I know you put a lot of work into it, and the last thing you want is to have creepy crawlies come and destroy them. All right, So next up, we have a super chat. This one is from Mr. Ninos Yokohana. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. He says, coffee on me. And when is the best time to apply Headway G in the Midwest? Great question, Ninos. So when it comes to fungicide applications, assuming you're doing this as a preventative and you don't have an active problem in your lawn. So if you have an active problem in your lawn, the best time to apply it was yesterday. Second best time is now. But if you're talking about when to apply a fungicide as a preventative, I'm a fan of doing it at 2 different times throughout the year. So in the late spring, early summer, when we tend to have more moisture, temperatures starting to warm up. So in the month of May is when I like to do an application of fungicide, and then again in June. And really that carries me through all the way until the late fall. So again, I'll do another fungicide application in October and then again in November. And the reason for the fall one is really to prevent spring dead spot. For those of you guys that have issues with in the Midwest where you have snow, like issues like snow mold and other diseases that tend to become more of a problem when you have lots of moisture on the lawn that sits for long extended periods of time, as is what happens when you have snow. Again, a fall fungicide app is also a great idea too. So it really, the best answer to the question is, assuming there is not an active problem, the late spring, early summer, and then into the fall time frame is when I like to do that. So hopefully that helps, sir. Depending on you being in the Midwest, depending on when how temperatures are in the spring, you may have to shift that slightly. So instead of maybe being the beginning of May, like how we do it here in the Southeast, you might be mid-May. But the idea is still a couple of apps in the late spring to early summer, because much like insect issues, like lawn diseases are best prevented than treated after the fact. So fungicide is just a part of it, just to be clear. It's not like the only answer, the only way to keep disease out of your lawn is to pound it with fungicides. Really, there's cultural practices you can do, and then also fungicides are another component of keeping your lawn disease free. And probably the most important thing is your mowing equipment. So if you are watching this live stream, you're probably someone that's really into your lawn. You probably mow it more frequently than others. And the nice thing about mowing your lawn frequently is that your lawn looks nice, has a very manicured look to it. The negative to it is that you're injuring the turf more frequently. And if you're cutting the grass without sharp equipment, the chances of you fraying the edges and just creating conditions where disease can now take root are increased. So make sure you're mowing your lawn regularly with sharp equipment, so maintain your equipment, and then also with watering. While water is important, you don't want to overdo it. That can also create conditions, especially when you pair it with like excessive nitrogen inputs, that can cause disease to become more of a problem in your lawn. And then fungicides are a tool on top of that to help keep things at bay. So it starts with mowing with cultural practices, and again, look at fungicides are just as an additional tool to prevent you from having a problem in the first place. So hope that helps, sir. Really appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. I'm going to get you up here as a show sponsor, get your name in lights, and again, the big thing is look at fungicides as a tool in your toolkit for keeping lawn disease at bay. Regular mowing, sharp equipment, prevent not overwatering, those types of things will also help as well too. So thank you so much, sir. There you go. You are a show sponsor because you are our first super chat. So there you go, your name and lights, whatever that means to you. Appreciate all the love and support. All right, next up, we have Mr. Kevin L. Kevin has a problem. He says, I forgot to change my sprayer tip to the large droplet when spraying my split application of Spectacle Flow. Should I be concerned that it will lack effectiveness? It's not ideal, Kevin, but I guess the question I would have asked you if you're sitting in front of me is, did you water the product in after application? That would be the big thing. The thing when it comes to spraying Spectacle Flow, or really any pre-emergent, is because it needs to get in the soil, it benefits from a spray tip with a larger droplet. So if you're using a foliar spray tip, if you water right afterwards, you'll still likely be okay, but it's just not as optimal. So you really want to use the correct spray tip when you're applying products like pre-emergent, like fungicides, like insecticides, products that tend to need to get in the soil to work. That's when a larger droplet will benefit you. And if you want to see the spray tip that I recommend, I did a short video on it here this week, but I'll also link the flood jet tip that you can pick it up off of Amazon for a couple of bucks. So there you go. The T-Jet flood jet tip, that's the one you should be using not only for fungicide applications, but also for pre-emergent, for insecticide. That is the one that I use. If you have the sprayer that we carry on the golf course lawn store, you'll have gotten a little baggie with sprayers in it, with spray tips in it. The one you want to use for spraying pre-emergent fungicides and insecticides is the white spray tip. So the white nozzle. It will look something like, you know what? Actually, I'll show you guys a little. I might maybe pull up the video really quick and show you what it will look like. It will look like this. Let's see if YouTube will cooperate with me.
Quick tip for helping you get the most out of your pre-emergent application.
Get the sound down, and
This fall.
I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right. Let's pause it right here. All right. So it looked like that. So it looked like this. So you see that spray tip. This video I'll link for you guys here in the chat. But if you have a sprayer like a Flow Zone or the Yard Mastery sprayer, it has the adapter, the 45-degree adapter has a 45-degree bend in it. So you're going to want to orient the tip, as you see how I'm showing here, where it's spraying straight down. So you'll be able to walk out with the wand right in front of you and it will spray straight down. But I can't emphasize enough that you don't want to use that one, the one you're seeing right there. Instead, you want to use the flood jet tip. You want to use the white spray tip. And I just linked that in the chat. So for any of you guys that are that want to know what you should be using, that be the one. That is the one. And it's a good investment. Again, we're only talking like less than $10, right? So worth picking up. Okay, next up is Mr. Rad 1986. He says, "Hey Ron, so I have just completed my leveling and overseeding of Kentucky bluegrass. I applied tenacity at the time of seeding. What are my next steps or options when it comes to weed control or prevention moving forward? I'm most worried about POA Anua and live near Detroit, Michigan, if that helps at all." So great question, Rad. So first of all, congrats on the seeding project. Sounds like a lot of fun. And hopefully you get good germination, everything grows in nicely. As far as dealing with weeds, you're really going to want to avoid pre-emergent for really at best the spring of next year. You know, most conventional wisdom will tell you to wait a year before you introduce pre-emergent, but there's definitely not going to be any pre-emergent that you should be applying this fall. You're going to want to wait until the spring at the earliest. Really, next fall would be best. So as far as controlling weeds are inevitably going to grow in your lawn because you've got a lot of bare soil and you're trying to thicken up the lawn with grass seed, your options are either hand pulling the weeds or spot spraying just that, the weeds, like limiting the spray to the weeds. You got to be really careful with that because even though you're using a herbicide that is, that's labeled safe for cool season turf grass, it's still a stressor, right? It's still going to stress a new lawn. So you really want to avoid blanket sprays at all costs. I know you said you got tenacity, but you're not going to want to blanket spray like a 3-way or tenacity or really anything on a lawn that's just been seeded if your primary goal is for the grass seed to take and for it to establish and for you not to undo a lot of your work. So that's the thing I would say. Limit herbicide use as much as you can. Pull the weeds, like hand pull the weeds wherever possible. And if you've got a clump, you got an area where you had some primarily weeds and not a whole lot of grass there, and you want to spot spray just that area, that would be okay. But I mean, you really want to limit herbicide use on a new lawn if your primary goal is to get the lawn to establish and not, again, undo all your hard work. And pre-emergent, you're going to want to avoid that really at all costs on a newly seeded cool season grass lawn. So hope that helps, sir. As far as POA Anua, there is a post-emergent herbicide for POA Anua, but really for KBG, you got to be careful. I mean, it really is it's safer to use on ryegrass, fescue, but Kentucky bluegrass, because POA Anua is related to bluegrass, they're kind of like they're cousins on some level. There's only certain cultivars that tolerate velocity very well. So it's something you can have in your toolkit, but it's one of these things that Kentucky bluegrass there's only certain cultivars that will tolerate this herbicide and not suffer injury. And unfortunately, it's an expensive herbicide, and the only way to really find out is either to have a friend that has some or to buy it and try it out. So for you, the big thing I would say, I'd really try to push you towards just manually pulling the weeds. That's really going to be your best bet. It's going to be less expensive, and it's going to be the less likely way of you having injury or damage in your lawn. If you just want to read about velocity and just have that and something to consider, I'll link it here in the chat. Again, it is not inexpensive, but this comes in a small bottle. Not one small bottle treats like 7 acres. So just it is what it is, man. So here you go. Hopefully that helps you. And if you need anything else, do let me know. All right. Next up is Chris Styles 405 saying, yo, what's going on, Chris? Hopefully you're doing all right. I'm waiting for the football talk to start. I know tonight it's going to be savage. Jay Bears up says, let's go, everyone. Happy weekend, everybody. Thanks so much, Jackie Bear. I appreciate you. And then next up, we have Josh Keller. He says, hey, Ron, what's your recommendation, if any, for using rye in the winter when a Bermuda goes dormant? And should we put that down? I live in South Texas. Well, as far as a recommendation for ryegrass seed, the ones that I've recommended to folks is one from Barenbrug. If you decide you're going to want to do that, should you do it? It depends. It depends. It's not something I've done on my lawn, and here are the pros and cons of it. The pros are your lawn's going to be green and it's going to look awesome when everybody else's lawn is brown and dormant. That's the cool aspect of it. The negative to it is that in the springtime, and really when the ryegrass is looking its absolute best, which tends to be March, like late March, early April timeframe, you have to get rid of it. You have to, use a selective herbicide like Celsius to spray it out. Otherwise, you're going to stunt the Bermuda coming out of dormancy. So either people that they just couldn't do it because again in March, April, ryegrass lawns look incredible, and they said, well, I'm just going to wait it out. And you have situations where like late June is when Bermuda is starting to really come into its own. So if you decide you want to do it, know that you have to get rid of it in March, April timeframe. If your primary goal is to have the Bermuda come out of dormancy, not have it be stunted and take a long time to really grow in. So that's the big thing. And I guess another negative is that if you overseed your lawn with ryegrass, you got to mow year round. So if you don't want to have to mow your lawn in the winter months, then don't overseed it. If you do, then you don't mind. And again, all these benefits, the benefits of having an amazing looking lawn are enough for you, then you can give it a shot. But you have to weigh it. There's no free lunch. In other words, when it's looking its absolute best is unfortunately when you have to get rid of it if you want to not slow down your Bermuda coming out of dormancy. So hope that helps, sir. Yeah, I don't really have anything else for you. Robert Rainey did it last year. His lawn looked absolutely incredible. He did wait a little bit later than he probably would have liked to at this point to get rid of it, and it took his lawn longer to recover as a result of that. So just bear that in mind. All right, next up, we got Mr. Robert Rainey. Speaking of him, he says, hello, what's going on? What's going on, Robert? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. That guy hath entered the live stream. Robert, I don't have a picture of your lawn handy of whenever you had it overseeded with ryegrass. If you have one, it's convenient for you. If you can email me a picture of your lawn when it was in its full glory with the ryegrass overseed, I can show Josh what it can look like. Well, that might not be a great thing. He's gonna look at that. He's gonna be like, I gotta have that, and not realize everything that goes into it. So if you can, you can. If you can't, that's fine too. But I'd like to show him a picture of your lawn, like how it looked when it was at full tilt, when the rye was looking its absolute best. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Jared George. He's into the live stream, and he says, hit the like button, everyone. My research has led me to see my average first fall frost is October 25th. Given that, how much time do I have to do a hide-to-cut reset and get it full green again to enjoy? Thanks. Not a lot of time, Jared. But here's the positives, right? Here's the positives and negatives of that. If you decide you're going to go do a hide-to-cut reset now and it doesn't fully come back, it's not that big a deal, because in 6 weeks from now, the lawn's going to start slowing down and going dormant in your part of the country anyway. So it's really your call. I mean, if you want something to do, you want to reset the hide-to-cut, that's fine. But just realize that it may not green up between now and October 25th. Like, for example, I've already noticed that my lawn is slowing down how quickly it's growing, and I'm in Georgia. It still gets plenty hot here, and just the fact that we're getting cooler evenings now is causing the lawn to slow down how quickly it grows. So where you are, I just want to kind of level set that it's not going to grow this month and next month like it did in August and July. So So yeah, so Robert just sent me a picture. Oh my goodness, you know what? I gotta start wearing my sunglasses when you guys send me these pictures. My eyes are burning. My eyes are burning. All right, let's go back here. Let me see if we can pull this up really quick. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Okay, so Josh, this is not an endorsement to say you should do this. However, after seeing these pictures, you might realize you might come to the conclusion that the juice is worth the squeeze. Man, I forgot how good this looks. Wow. Too bad I already put spectacle down. Man, okay. So take a look here. This is what Robert was working with last year. So this is his, or this might be from earlier this year, but that's a Bermuda lawn that is overseeded with ryegrass. So you got that one. You got the checkerboard, because you got to have the checkerboard. Let's just, come on, let's keep it real. You got to have checkerboard. And then we have diamonds, looks like to me as well too. So really your choice. He gave you stripes straight on. He gave you some checkerboard action. He gave you a little bit of everything. So you got all your options there for what can look good. Again, having said that, you have to pledge that you're going to get rid of it like March, April timeframe. Otherwise, Bermuda is going to suffer. So you can choose whether or not you want that or not. That is, I got to tell you, that is like domination level 11 in your neighborhood if your lawn looks like that and everyone else's lawn is dormant. But you have to figure out if it's worth it to you or not. All right. Thank you so much, Robert. I really do appreciate you sending that to me. And Josh, hopefully that helps thicken the plot as far as which way to go for your overseeding project should you decide to do that. If you're going to overseed your lawn, do not apply pre-emergent in the fall. That's another thing to consider as well, too. I didn't mention that. But if you are going to decide you're going to overseed a warm season lawn like Bermuda, then you really want to avoid pre-emergent in the fall because it's going to negatively impact your germination. All right, so we got another super chat. This one is from Mr. Lance F.
Received.
Thank you so much, Lance. He says, good evening, Ron. I sent an email of pictures of my lawn. Can you please tell me what's going on here? Is it a fungus or just thin spots that need to be overseeded? Thanks for all you do. By the way, the turf is Kentucky bluegrass. Lance, I don't have any pictures from you yet, man. When did you send? I'm gonna look here really quick here and see. I don't have anything from you. If you have sent them, they haven't come through. So check and make sure that the size isn't too big and send them again if you don't mind. Once I see them pop through here on my email, I will I'll get them up in the live stream and we'll give it a look. But I don't see them as yet. I know my email's not broken because Robert just emailed me and I got that. So maybe make the picture smaller and I will take a look and I'll get you an answer. Again, thank you so much for the super chat. And I believe you have dethroned Noos. So there you go. You are now our show sponsor. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Appreciate it. And I'll look out for that email from you. All right. Next up, we have, Roger Mayhew. He says, hey, Ron, received my soil test results today, and the yard needs just about everything. Don't you just hate it when that happens? It says, everything is red. You got to have a bit of everything. At least you know. I have a couple of dark spots that are thin and bare. Could this be insect? I don't see the rest of it. I guess you're asking, could it be insect damage? It's possible. It's possible it could be insect damage, but based on your soil test results, it could be just a nutrient deficiency. Like if you have a part of the lawn that isn't getting as much sunlight, to your point, your soil is nutrient deficient. It could be a host of things that would cause one area to be thin and bare compared to other parts of the lawn. Without a picture, it's really hard to say. But what I would do is I would amend the soil based on your soil test results. So if you've got a lawn that needs a soil that needs a bit of everything, a good choice is our complete 14-7-14 fertilizer. It's got your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, some micronutrients, some kelp, a bit of humic acid. It got a bit of everything in there. So that's what I would go with on a lawn where your soil test results says it needs everything. And the bare spot can be for a host of reasons. I mean, also keep in mind too, if your soil is nutrient deficient, this summer has been fairly hot and also fairly dry. So if that area was struggling more from the heat, and was just weaker, the temperatures that we've had and the lack of rain that we've had across the country for the most part can also cause some areas to struggle more than others. So it's a host of reasons why it could be. The one thing you do know is that your lawn has a nutrient problem, so I would work to correct that. There's other things you can look at, but I would absolutely work to correct that. And in case you need the fertilizer that I'm talking about, I will link it here in the chat for you right now. See at Roger. So you are all squared away. That's what I would go with on your lawn. So hope that helps, sir. Next up is Colin. C Pimps is in the house. He says, what's happening, Ron? Hope your Friday has been well. Tuning in for some good turf talk. As always, I have a heat wave this week in Cali with high 90s and low hundreds. The paspalum is going to pop. Very, very cool. Friday's been going pretty well, Colin. I cannot complain. Got my mow in before the live stream, so I'm happy about that. And you sent me some pictures of your lawn, which I will share with the gallery. So Colin has a paspalum lawn, and if you look at this area here, which is what he resodded, I think it was earlier this year he resodded, looking pretty nice. And then we have his vanity strip, it looks like, or maybe it's near the driveway. Really, really good. Get that crisp edge, and the color's looking nice. And then finally, the backyard is there, also looking nice. You know, one thing I have to say, Colin, every time I see your lawn, right, you show me pictures of it, and I think of like people that say, you know, having a small, they want this really massive lawns, and what your pictures always impress upon me is how having a small lawn really has some benefits, because it's a lot less to take care of. You could mow it, you know, every other day in, 20 minutes if you want to, and it's less cost to take care of it, and it can still look really good. Your lawn can still stand out among all the other smaller lawns in your neighborhood. So there's a lot to be said for having a smaller property, a lot less expensive to take care of from a product standpoint and also a time standpoint. So keep up the great work, keep it going. You know, your lawn will likely still be looking good while many of our lawns are going dormant. So, you know, we'll have to live vicariously through you as far as good looking lawns in late September, October timeframe. All right, Corey is up next. He says, good afternoon, Ron. I'm in Georgia. Is it too late to apply fertilizer to Bermuda? What should I start doing now to prepare my lawn for the fall? Okay, so question one, is it too late to apply fertilizer for Bermuda? No, it's not. I applied a Humic Max on my lawn this past weekend, so it's already gotten its granular fertilizer. My last granular fertilizer input for this year, given like where the trend of temperature is going, will likely be October. That's when I'll shut it down as far as further fertilizer inputs in the lawn. I'll show you what I applied. If you go to the golf course lawn store and go to shop and then go to lawn fertilizer, pretty much there's two granular fertilizers that I primarily use on my lawn. And the beginning of the season and the end of the season, I use the same one. So at the beginning of the season, when the lawn is waking up, I use this, the Stress 12024. It's a higher potassium fertilizer, which helps the lawn as it's transitioning, say, from really cool weather in the spring to warmer weather in the winter to cooler weather in the spring. And then also as we go from the hot weather of summer into the cooler temperatures of fall and winter, higher potassium also helps the lawn manage stress better. So as far as like the bookend for my lawn, if you can think of it that way, the stress, that one I just showed, is what I use. In between March and October, Humic Max, the 1608 is what I use on my lawn. So this is what I use for my primary feeding throughout the growing season. When I'm mowing the lawn, every other day, every 2 days. And then beginning of the season, I start and end with the 12024. So this is what I would plan for to apply. Given that you're in Georgia next month, you're going to apply it at low rates. The rates that we list here under the how to use section are going to have you applying this and putting out about half a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So if you have one of the spreaders that are on the bag, this is what you'll see on the bag itself. If you happen to have a Scott spreader or one of these other spreaders that are not listed on here, these calibrations will also get you putting the product out at half a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet, which again is not a whole lot, and that's gonna, you're not gonna be overdoing it as the lawn is transitioning into dormancy. So I'll send you just links just to the collection page for lawn fertilizer, and outside of that, Corey, I'd say just continue to mow it. Make sure you keep up with your mowing. Just because the temperatures are beginning to cool off now doesn't mean we neglect the lawn, doesn't mean we don't keep up with our mowing. And the other thing I would say in Georgia, especially because we can have issues with spring dead spot in the springtime, is consider a fungicide application in the month of October and November. So all of this is outlined for you. I'm throwing a lot at you. You're like saying, oh man, this will have to write notes. You don't have to write notes, because what I've done is, or rather what we've done, it's just only me, we also have a team that helps me, that we put together a lawn care schedule. So if you go to resources and then lawn care schedule, and then you go to the month-by-month application schedule, This will, starting from February all the way down through November, will give you, a plan for what you can do on your lawn to have it looking really good. This is a more basic calendar of what we do, what's in the Golf Course Lawn Academy. But this is going to really get you in a good spot. And you'll see that we're in September. We are still applying Humic Max at 1608 at 3 pounds per thousand. And then, and we're doing pre-emergent. And then as we go into October next month, you see here, I have listed the 12024, and then your first fall fungicide application with the goal, if you're in the Southeast, of preventing spring dead spot. And the last thing is in November, your last fungicide app, and you're done really until February of next year. Just take the time off, relax, enjoy, watch football, whatever it is you like to do, and do that. So I'll send you this as well. This is completely free. Anyone else here can use it. Doesn't cost anything. And if you need anything else, just do let me know. All right. Next up, we have Thomas Sanders. I need to say anything. We have Brett May is in the live stream. He says, Ron, I'll be leaving on vacation for 2.5 weeks. Is it too late to lower my height of cut with the idea that when I get back, I can cut it where I am now and it will still be green? Bermuda, North Texas. Kind of unlikely, Brett. So if you go 2.5 weeks without mowing your Bermuda lawn because you're on vacation, it's not like if you lower your height of cut, it's more than likely it's going to grow past where you currently are. I mean, even if you are at 3/4 of an inch and you scalped it down to the dirt in 2.5 weeks, it's more than likely. Well, if you went to dirt, maybe not, but 2.5 weeks, it's gonna grow past where you are. So, would I do a height of cut reset now this time of year? Not really. I mean, what you might do is if you want to mow it a little bit shorter, that would be okay, but I wouldn't get out there and scalp the lawn this time of year. Just enjoy the time you're on vacation, and just when the lawn comes back, when you get back, if the lawn's higher and you have to leave it a little bit taller as you go into dormancy, that's fine. You can always scalp it in the spring, or if you want to step it down slowly, you can do that too. But your strategy of cutting it really low and in hopes that it's not going to grow while you're gone, or it's going to go back to the height of cut you're at when you're gone, is kind of unlikely to work. So I don't know that I would bother with it. I would just go on vacation and just realize, hey, towards the end of the season, I'm gonna go enjoy my time off, and the lawn's gonna get a little bit taller, and that's okay because it's just grass. And worst case scenario, you can always get it back down to your height of cut come springtime. So yeah, I wouldn't do it for me. Hope that helps. All right, next up, actually, Lance, I got a couple of pictures from you. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get one of these up on the live stream. Okay, so he sent me, I mean, I don't know, Lance, like part of what you're showing me looks like one picture, the picture far away, it looks okay, but then we get closer and it's, hang on, Lance F, let me create a folder for you separately here. It looks, we get closer, you can see something, but I mean, I don't know, man. It's, let us see. Okay, so some pictures that Lance sent where he has some issues in his lawn. So first of all, this is what it looks like when you look at it from the street, which again, looking at, for me, Lance, that looks pretty good. I mean, most people be very happy with that. We're very happy with that. I realize that you're more picky, but that looks pretty good to me. But then you have some other pictures here where you have some reason for concern. Okay. It almost looks like the lawn got some damage from something in that area, and then it's now recovering from it. I don't know what caused it. We have another one here. Man, it's hard to say. So you got picture 1 and then picture 2. It's hard to say, Lance. I mean, it is localized to that area. What you might do is, if you haven't done like a soap test, get out there and put some dish soap and some Dawn and water in a bucket and pour it on those areas, see if anything comes up. The thing is that overall, though, the lawn looks pretty good. I mean, that looks really good to me. So it almost looks like there was some localized damage from something. Could be a pet damage or something. Maybe not your pet, but someone else's. And then the lawn is recovering from it. But worse, just eliminate everything. Get out there, do a pour some dish soap and water on it. And if you haven't done a fall insecticide application, it's not going to hurt to do that if you're concerned about it. But overall, again, looking at it from the street, not like right up close, the lawn looks pretty good to me, you know? So it doesn't look like scalping either. It's hard to tell like from the scale how big these marks are, but they don't look like they're ones that were caused from a mower either. So yeah, I'd say let's go through a process of elimination. Put some soapy water there, see if anything comes up. If you want to do an insecticide application like a Celiprin, that would be okay too. But it looks like something damaged it, and it looks like the lawn's on its way to recovery from what I'm seeing. So I hope that helps. All right, so next up we have Thomas Sanders. He says, "Hey from Alabama, what's going on, Thomas? Thank you for chiming in and hanging out. Coming to say hi from Alabama. Speaking of Alabama, man, you guys, the Crimson got it done this past weekend, as did Georgia. I mean, we took a slow start, but overall, you guys did well, as did we. So I'm sure we'll meet later on in the season, assuming that how the season's starting is how it goes throughout the rest of the season. We'll see, right? Okay, Brett May's back. He says, additionally, if I reset the height of cut, will the brown stem absorb foliar spray such as the carbon kit? You want to really have some leaf for best results, Brett. So again, I personally wouldn't do it. If you want to lower the height of cut a little bit, that would be okay. But as far as like a full scalp this late in the season, I really would avoid that if it were me. I really wouldn't do it mainly because it's just not going to produce the result that I think that you're hoping is going to. So you're just doing a lot of work for not a ton of upside, in my opinion. All right, next up we have Mr. Oliver Rittem in the live stream. He says, actually, you know what? I got a super chat here from Lance. Thank you so much, Lance. Appreciate it.
Super chat.
He says, sorry, Ron, I had the email wrong. No worries, man. It happens. As I was saying, man, I don't have anything from you. So I'm glad that we got that figured out. All right. Next up, we have Oliver. Oliver Rittem is in the live stream. Mr. Awesome Lawn as well. He says, happy Friday, Ron and all. I laid Headway G in May and Pillar SC in June. What should I put out in October and November for this fall? Either one, because there's been so much time between when you did the spring, the late spring, early summer fungicide applications. You're good to go. What I have done is, what I'll do is I've used Pillar. I'll be using Pillar this fall. So there's not going to be there's no issue with doing that at all, Oliver. You don't need to necessarily bounce between them unless you really want to. Both Pillar and Headway have like they're both in the same family. I think they're both group 3 and 11 fungicides that are in both products. So again, I would not necessarily rotate away from either one of those because you're not. It's when you get into the third application is when I will typically rotate. So if I whenever you have, we had like a Golf Course Lawn Academy member that was down in Panama and had zoysia, and they get like a ton of rain there. And he had Pillar, and he would do 2 apps to try and get rid of this large patch problem that he had in his lawn. And then in his case, because like 2 apps got it somewhat under control, but it still wasn't fully gone. In his case, because he had to do a third subsequent application, so 3 in sequence. In that case, I recommended to him that he rotate to a different fungicide. I think we went to like to 3,3F, 336F in his case. But in yours, where you're talking about months apart and you're using it as preventative, that's it's fine. You're fine to use either one of those, whichever you feel like in October and again in November. So great question. All right, next up is Kenny Cadow. Kenny, it's been a while, man. Hopefully you're doing all right. My favorite, I guess it's football time, so it's time for you to come back. I get it. He said, what's up, Lawn fam? Rain hasn't stopped here lately. Going to the game tomorrow. Go Tigers. Go on. All right, Kenny, I see you. We'll give you that. Glad to see you're doing well, man. It's been a while since you've been in the live stream, so glad to see that you are you're doing all right. And you are in Louisiana, so you can't come watch the Bulldogs. So I guess LSU's is a decent consolation, right? All right. Next up, we have a super chat. Let's see here. We have one from Rasheed Turner. Let me get you up here, Rasheed.
Super chat received.
He says, just ordered the CT Catalyst, the California Trimmer Catalyst, long time to decide. Ultimately, I feel that all of the reels are the same. Overseeding soon with Bearmark RPR. Very cool. Congrats, man. We got to give you some dap. Congrats on the new mower. Very nice. Very nice. Send us some pictures of it once you get it, and mow in good health. You have to let me know what cartridges did you get along with it. Did you get just the cutting cartridge, or did you get other cartridges along with your catalyst? It'd be interesting to know. So if you're still here, Rasheed, feel free to drop that in the chat so we can tell everybody. All right, next up we have Ruben Flores. Ruben Flores, he says, what's the backstory of your logo? I figured it would be a real mower or something lawn related. What gives? Yeah, so that's a great question, Ruben. So I had this logo created when I was like blogging. I was writing like financial blogs and other like life advice content. So if you look at it, what it stands for, you got it like right, I can't remember, figure over here. That's because I got one here on the screen. So right there, you can see the logo, right? Actually, I can actually show you one here as well too. I've got one. If you look, right, if you look up close, it's like two chat boxes, right? Like if you and I were having a conversation, like a message, like we're texting back and forth or whatever, what it is, it shows like a conversation going in two directions. So this, red is conversation going one way, and then blue is conversation going the other way. And then because YouTube is my primary platform, I integrated the YouTube play button. So because, as you guys can see, like a lot of what I do on the channel is about sharing the little bit of knowledge that I have with everybody else and like interacting with you guys, a bit of back and forth. That's what the logo is about. So I stuck with it. So it's as simple as that. There's nothing much more complicated than that. Again, like, collaboration is talking back and forth, and then the play button. So you'll never look at it the same way again, right? You'll say, it's gotta be something, what's the big deal with it? But yeah, that's the story behind the logo. That is for the business, for the channel. That's what it is. So if you look too as well, I do my best to respond to comments as much as I can. So again, because we tend to have back and forth with viewers, that's why, and for me, this is fitting. So that's why I kept that. But you're right, a real mower, if I had to do it all over again, I don't know. I mean, a real mower might be kind of cool, but I mean, most people, I think this is just a more general, it has more reach as far as like a logo that just really, really means something to me. Like I'm about more than just real mowing. So this is why I stuck with it. Hopefully that helps. All right, next up is Josue Araya. He says, when would be the last time to put out a granular for the year? We'll be using the 12024. For where I am in the country, Josue, it's the month of October. So next month is when I'll be doing my last granular fertilizer input for the year. Is that a bit early to shut it down? Some people would say yes, but the reasoning behind that is I used to fertilize my lawn because here in Georgia, sometimes lawns don't really even fully go dormant until like November timeframe. I used to fertilize my lawn into November, and I started having issues for a couple of years with spring dead spots. So starting like 3 years ago, I said, okay, I'm shutting it down in October, and I'm also going to do a preventative fungicide app. And what that has done for me in the spring is it's gotten rid of the problem without really any negatives, because the lawn still comes out of dormancy, still looks great. I've not had any other real problems. So for me, stopping your fertilizer inputs in October has worked well. If you still want to go out there and do a foliar spray here and there, that would be okay. But as far as granular inputs, October is when I do my last one. So great question, sir. And hopefully the why behind why I do that makes sense, because ever since I changed, it's not like spring dead spot has not really been an issue in my lawn, which I'm very happy about. All right, next up is Mr. Papa Moslow. He says, good evening, Ron. Good evening, Papa Moslow. Hopefully you're doing well. And thanks. It's good. It's been a while since I heard from you, so hopefully everything is doing well for you. And then next up, we got Mr. Ninos Yokhana. He says, love this show. I appreciate that, man. It means a lot. This is like year 4. Believe it or not, can you imagine that? I was talking to someone before the show started, and I said, yeah, it's been 4 years. This past August is 4 years doing this, which is crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun. It's gotten a lot better. Like I go back and look at the live stream when I first just thought about doing this like years ago, and now I was like, oh man, this is like the lighting, the studio, everything was just so terrible. But now it's less terrible now, and I've definitely gotten better at it as I've had more reps. Right? Kind of hard to not get better at something as you do it more and more. All right, you got to get to me says, Northeast Oklahoma soil temps is 79. When do I apply Prodiamine 65? Also, how much longer should I use Primo Max? Great question. You ought to get to me. So the the goal for me in the fall when it comes to pre-emergent is to have it applied and have it in the soil prior to conditions when POA annua, when they're ideal for POA annua to germinate and create a big headache for you later in the fall and in the spring. So for me, whenever soil temps, the average soil temps are in the low 70s is when I'll get my pre-emergent out. One that often correlates here in Georgia is September, early September timeframe. So like now, late August, early September is when I get my pre-emergent out. There are the trucks around here, like from the various lawn care services, are already going around lawns and already spraying pre-emergent as well. So kind of lets me know that we're doing it right. And ever since I went to getting my application out a little bit earlier, because I used to wait till late September, early October, and I would have more issues with POA. Ever since I said, you know what, even though I'm not seeing anything in the lawn yet, late August, early September, I'm gonna get my pre-emergent out. It's made a big improvement. And really, because I use Spectacle Flow as my pre-emergent in the fall anyway, and this has such a long residual, the label says up to 10 months, but really 6 months is very conservative as far as what you can get out of this product. A couple of weeks is not going to negatively impact me having enough coverage if I apply this product a few weeks early. Having said that, if you wait too long, so you wait till October and POA is already germinating, like you are not going to get as good control. So when it comes to pre-emergent in the fall, my mantra is the same as it is in the springtime. A little bit early is better than a little bit late. You typically don't run into issues doing your pre-emergent a week or two early versus waiting longer. And as far as your question about Primo Max, you have to look at your lawn and decide. I will do an application of Primo mid-month of September, and that will probably be it because the lawn's already slowing down quite a bit for me. It's not, I'm like, I could really go to mowing every 3 days if I wanted to at this point. So an application in mid-September, unless things change, will likely be my last Primo app for the year. Given that you're in Northeast Oklahoma, that's probably good for you as well too. So mid September, maybe the beginning of October at the latest, and then you can shut it down. Because again, it's going to start cooling down. The lawn's going to start growing a lot slower. So there's not really going to be a whole lot of need for growth regulator. Hope that helps, sir. And then one other tip, you didn't ask this, but if you are going to use prodiamine as your fall pre-emergent because either you have cool season grass or you're not using Spectacle, what I recommend is instead of doing a single application in like now at the higher rate, take your annual limit, your allocation, and do a split application. So do one like now, and then do another one before you're gonna have like your frost. So late November, and in Georgia, whenever we do split apps, it'll be now and then another one in late November, early December. So you have to know in your area when you're gonna, when it's gonna get so cold that snow is a possibility, and get your second pre-emergent app in before then, because prodiamine doesn't have as long of a residual as Spectacle does, and a single app is, from my testing, is not enough really to prevent you from having a lot of problems with POA annua in your lawn come springtime. So if you're gonna use prodiamine in the fall, I would plan for 2 applications, which means you're gonna have to manage how much you do in each one. If you're using Spectacle, it's your choice, dealer's choice. You can do a single app or you can do a split app. It's really, really your call. This year, last minute, I decided I'm gonna do split app again. So I already sprayed this once at 1/10 of an ounce per 1,000, and then in early December I'll do the same thing again, and then I'll be good to go until the springtime, until like February, March, whenever I do my spring pre-emergent. Hope that helps, sir. Great question. I like that you're thinking ahead. Next up, Mr. Joe Cox. Joe Cox. He says, "Good afternoon. What size sprayer would I need to spray 2 acres? Depends on how often you want to stop and refill." 2 acres is a lot. I mean, that's not, you're past backpack spray at that point. To me, you'd want to do like a tow behind, maybe like a 20 gallon tank, to where that's still going to be like 2.5 fill-ups, to cover that. If you can get like a 30 gallon, maybe that would be better. Because you figure if you're putting out product, most products have a dilution rate, or a recommended dilution rate, Joe, of a gallon of solution over 1,000 square feet, right? So with you having 2 acres, 20 gallons is going to cover just under half an acre. So if you got like a 30 gallon tank, you'd easily be able to do all 2 acres with just under 4 tankfuls. So that was what I would look at. Again, backpack sprayer for 2 acres, you're gonna be hating life. That's way too much. You're gonna be using a tow behind. I can't recommend one because I've never bought one. I just get emails from folks every now and then that have them and say, hey, if I were mixing this product, how much would you use with this? And I help them out. But as far as recommending one, I can't do that because I don't have one. I've never even looked into buying one because I don't need anything like that large. But in your case, a tow behind, 20 gallons at a minimum. If you can get a 30-gallon, that would be even better, given that you got 2 acres to take care of. All right, Andre Taylor is up next. He says, evening, Ron. Happy Friday. How long after applying granular pre-emergent can I start bagging clippings using a rotary mower? Well, I'd say after you water it in. So if you were to go out this weekend and put out your granular pre-emergent and then water it in, or if you watered it in and let's say you also have rain in the forecast, a couple of days from now, after you get that rain from applying your that falls after your pre-emergent application, then you'd be good to go ahead and start bagging your clippings. Because the thing is also after you water it, the granules are going to be they're going to start breaking down. They're going to be start to be washed into the soil profile. So as far as you being able to suck them up with your mower, like you would easily be able to do with like a dry granule, less likely so if you wait until after you do a good irrigation cycle, or even better, you get rainfall. So I'd say once you've watered it in and or gotten rain, then you're good to go to resume bagging your clippings if you want to do that. So hope that helps, Andre. And then next up, we have Greg Lyon. He says, when would you do your last nitrogen fertilizer treatment? I think I already answered this, Greg. My last fertilizer nitrogen treatment is in October. Again, it's kind of called out here in the calendar on the Golf Course Lawn Store. Again, if you go to resources and then lawn care schedule, I'll just do it really quickly for those of you that are just now joining the live stream, to there, and then to monthly application schedule. You'll see that in October is my last fertilizer input right there. So that is what I do. Again, depending on where you are in the country, adjust that as you see fit, as needed. But that is what I would I'd recommend. October timeframe. He said, and how much iron is too much, and when would you apply it? So good question, Greg. I don't apply iron by itself. I know some folks like to use ironite. There's another product, I think it's called Feature, that's people like to use. I don't use any of those. I don't use any like standalone iron products on my lawn. The last product that was anything like similar to that was a product called Brand Supreme Green. And I haven't used that for four plus years, I think, at this point. I get enough iron from my micronutrients. So the product that we carry on the store that has iron in it, the Golf Course Lawn micronutrient, this has 2% iron, and then the granular fertilizer, like for example, 12024 also has some iron in it as well. So between the micronutrient that I spray a couple times per month, that really meets my iron demand. So I wouldn't get out there and get too crazy putting out like heavy doses of iron. Your lawn really doesn't need a lot of it for it to look its best. And if you overdo it, you can end up with a negative effect, right? So what'll happen if you over apply iron is the lawn's gonna get really vibrant and green. You're gonna be like, yeah, I'm winning, I'm dominating everybody. Look at me, I'm awesome, right? But then it's gonna go from that really nice, dark, vibrant green to like a purplish or dull grayish color. It'll still be green, but it's gonna be like if green could be gray or green could be slightly purplish, that's what's gonna happen from an over application of iron. So you really want to avoid that. And what you'll find is like by either spraying, small amounts of it, 2% iron, like what we have in our liquid fertilizer, or just getting it from your granular, you're going to be just fine. You really don't need to get out there and hammer the lawn with a lot of iron for it to look good. So hope that helps, sir. I really wouldn't overdo it. Would not overdo it. Bad things will happen. All right, next up we got Scott Groundwater. He says, Ron, I put down 12 pals of Toro Zoysia again this year, in April this year. When can I use a pre-emergent? I'm in Florida Panhandle Zone 9. I can use 9Z. I think you meant 9, something else. Okay. He said, so 12 pals of Toro Zoysia in April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, I mean, if you want to do pre-emergent this fall, you could. I would, in your case, go with like prodiamine. Like I'd avoid spectacle on a newly sodded zoysia lawn this fall, just to be safe. If you're gonna use spectacle, if you say, hey, no, I want to use spectacle, then absolutely don't go out at the high rate. You do like a split application. Go out at like a tenth of an ounce per thousand. But like prodiamine would be a good choice. You'd be fine to do that this fall if you want to. And again, spectacle I would probably avoid this year if you decide you're going to do it. Split application, so lower rate is what I would say. So hope that helps, sir. Congrats on the new El Toro zoysia lawn. You know, it's funny. I didn't used to like El Toro that much until I saw it in August on the Real Rollers Turf Park, and then I was like, man, this grass actually looks pretty cool. Because for me, El Toro looks like a finer leaf St. Augustine, and but yeah, the nice cool thing about it is that unlike like your Xeons or other zoysias that are prone to scalp or discoloration if you mow them too short, or if they if you scalp, El Toro is less likely to show that because of how far down the leaf that it maintains its green color. It's kind of like St. Augustine in that regard. So yeah, congrats on the lawn, and hopefully that helps you. All right, Rad 1986 is back. He says, with my newly overseeded KBG lawn, what would be your fall fertilization schedule look like? So I would continue feeding it until you're about to shut the lawn down for the year, Rad. So your choices would be either the 12-0-24, the same one that I'm going to be using on my lawn. You could use Humic Max. The big thing you have to keep in mind is that the rates that we provide for the granular fertilizer really are on the low end. They're like, we have you putting out about 1/2 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. So it's not going to push a ton of growth. So if you are looking for just a granular, I will give you a couple of options. I'd say either Humic Max, the 1608. This has got more fast release nitrogen in it, so it's going to produce more growth faster than say the Stress 12024, which got more slow release. So either one of these would be fine. The Complete 14714 I really only apply if you have soil test results that show that your soil needs phosphorus. If that's the case, then this would be a good choice. If you wanted to supplement that with like a liquid fertilizer spray, you could use our new 22-3 fertilizer. This is a foliar spray. So literally you spray it and allow it to dry on the lawn. And between this and whichever of these two you decide to go with, you're going to be in a good spot. So hope that helps, sir. Yeah, I mean the question I have to get from folks is like, you are primarily a warm season grass guy. Can I use these fertilizers on a cool season lawn? And the answer is yes. Like pretty much everything on the golf course lawn store is grass type agnostic with the exception of herbicides. So the insecticides, the fungicides, the fertilizers, the biostimulants, they can be used on cool season turf grass. They can be used on warm season turf grass. It doesn't really matter. The thing you have to be careful with though are the herbicides, and which is why if you look at any of them in our product description, we let folks know like what they're for. For example, this one is very clearly for warm season turf grass. Do not use it on a cool season lawn. Conversely, if you look at the other one that's designed for cool season turf grass, very clear. It's for cool season turf grass only. You know what I mean? And if you have products that can be used on both, like for example, quinclorac, then we'll go into detail and we'll say, it can be used on these KBG cultivars, on these cool season lawns, grass types is no without issue. It'll work well on these warm season grass types without issue. And if there are some considerations that on grass types you absolutely do not want to apply it on, for example, quinclorac on bahia, on bent grass and centipede grass, you really want to be careful. You don't want to use it on those. So obviously consult the label. Like what we write in the product description is based on the label. So based on what the label says. So always read the label. The label is going to tell you exactly where and how to use the product, but we make it pretty clear as far as what should be used where. And again, outside of herbicides, there's not really a warm season fertilizer or a cool season fertilizer. There are different fertilizers that can be used at different times of the year depending on your grass type, and that is accounted for in this. So we have, if you go to the golf course lawn store and go to just here and you look at use our fertilization calculator, one of the questions that it asks you is whether you have cool season and warm season grass, because based on the time of year and your grass type, it will recommend a different granular fertilizer. So that's accounted for in this, and this is completely free to use. So if you want to know, hey, what kind of fertilizer would be a good choice for my lawn, would be more optimal, then use that tool that I spent quite a bit of time creating. So hopefully that's useful. And if you want to know where you can pick that up or just look at it, I will link that in the chat for you right here. Rad, so at Rad 1886, fertilization calculator. There you go. All right. Next up is JT. He says, happy Friday, Ron. My girlfriend just got me a Petra backpack sprayer for my birthday. Dude, good job, man. That's a good lady. She's got, taking care of you and getting your lawn care supplies. That's pretty cool. He says, first year applying pre-emergent, fungicide, insecticide. Should I spray this combination in another sprayer since this will be my main? Nope, not at all. So the big thing, this is a great question. So the question is, you just got a new sprayer. Should I have a sprayer that's designated for fungicide and insecticide and or pre-emergent, and one that's used for fertilizer and other products? And I'm not someone that ascribes to that. What I do tell you should do is rinse and clean the sprayer after you're done with it. So it's good for a couple of reasons. One, you don't accidentally spray like a damaging product on your lawn. It's better for the seals, for the pump. You tend to have less deposits and problems with the sprayer when you don't leave chemicals in it. And if you do that, you can use the same sprayer for everything. Case in point, like my sprayer, I use that to spray my liquid fertilizer, my biostimulants, my growth regulator every couple of weeks. That same sprayer, I will take glyphosate and Fusilade 2 and use that in my mulch beds to control the weeds that are in there. And I've never had a problem, using different products in the same sprayer. But the thing is that after every use, literally after every single use, I clean it. I make sure I rinse it out. And the way you do that is you use up all the product in the area that you're planning to use it. And then you put some little bit of water in the tank, rinse the tank out, and then with just clean water in the tank, run the sprayer for 30 seconds. What that's going to do is it's going to flush whatever chemical, whatever you had in the sprayer through the pump, through the lines, through the wand, to where pretty much the only thing that's left in the lines is water. And if you do that, you can go back and forth between products without issue. So I've done that for years. There's not really an issue with doing it, but you just have to be disciplined about keeping your equipment clean. So hope that helps, JT. And again, congrats on the new gear. Your girlfriend sounds like she's a keeper to me, man. She's out buying you spray equipment, lawn equipment for your birthday. Good lady. All right. Next up, let's see here. Next up, we have a super chat from Rasheed. Rasheed's going to give me some grief here. He says,
Super chat.
He says, Ron, I fall asleep watching lawn care videos. Ron, you haven't put out a video in a bit. What's on tap? I just brought the Flow Zone Cyclone as well. Yeah, so I do a lot of the live streams. We do this every single week, and then a lot of what's in the live stream as far as questions you guys have, I cut those up and I put them out as shorts. So literally every single day a piece of content gets published to the channel. As far as some of the longer form content, I've done some of those pieces this year, but a lot of the topics that I really want to cover, like I've covered them really well. Like, I mean, if you look at my videos, I mean, at least I like to think so. I spent a lot of time researching them, and at least the ones that have been done in the last 3-4 years. And I make them as good as I possibly can. Like, for example, this year I was thinking, okay, I haven't done a video on core aeration for a while. I should do another video on core aeration. And then I watched the video that I did last time, and I'm like, you know what? I just make the exact same thing again. Like, it's like there's nothing in this that I don't like. Like in that video, there was drone footage. There was, we got like tons of different camera angles. We showed like all the tips that I have around like using an aerator and getting a good result. And none of that's really changed. So I guess I could make the same content over and over and over again. But you get some of that from the live stream, from this, and then also from the shorts that get produced from this, which again get put out every single day. And that's the thing, is the shorts have been really well received. Like, you guys seem to really like those. Like, I guess for some reason, like, if you like, for example, this comment, this probably won't make it into one, but I mean, some of the questions you guys ask, if they're really good, and I'll cut them up and add them as a short, and then folks really get a kick out of seeing their question being as shown on YouTube as a standalone piece of content, as a short piece of content. So that's what I've been doing a lot of. So yeah, I mean, not that I'm opposed to doing long form content, but as far as making the same thing over and over just for the sake of making it, I'm not really a fan of doing that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, we have another super chat. And you also got a flow zone cyclone as well. Very cool. I'm glad that it's a good sprayer. Great sprayer. Make sure you calibrate it and get a good set of spray tips for it. I'm not sure if they're including them yet. If not, they should be. And then next up, we have a super chat from Shane McDonald.
Super chat received.
He says, hey, Ron, I got my hands on Esplanade 200 SC in Dazaflam 19.05. Spectacle flow is 7.4 in Dazaflam. If you recommend 0.10 to 0.2 for spectacle flow per 1,000 square feet, what would that be for Esplanade? Hookem, you're probably, who's Hookem? I think it's you're a OU fan, right? I think so. Or is that, I just committed Carlson. That's Longhorns. I think it's a Longhorns fan. Yeah. All right. Check the label. It's not as simple as, that's approximately half, a little bit less than, actually almost a third of what the rate is for spectacle. But the label should tell you. The label should tell you what rate to apply the product at per 1,000 square feet. If it only, I've never even heard of that product. I'm assuming it's labeled for use on residential lawns, which I assume it is because you wouldn't be asking about it if it weren't. The label is going to tell you. And if the label only gives you rates per acre, take the per acre rate and divide it by 43.5, and that will get you the amount of product you should be using over 1,000 square feet. So I can't tell you off the top of my head. I'm not familiar with that product. I wouldn't want to guess. I just would tell you, like, you look at the label there. It's going to be really clearly spelled out on the label, like what rate you should be using either per acre or per 1,000 square feet. And if you only get per acre, again, it's really easy to do the conversion. So hope that helps, sir. I get it. I guess it is fall college football time, so I'm sure I'm going to get, I'm going to have to just deal with that, unfortunately. Not everybody's a Georgia fan. All right. Next up, we have, find out where I left off. We have Chantal from Florida. I remember you. She says, rain has been slowing me down. Here's the thing, Chantal, you guys in Florida are complaining about rain. Us, everywhere north of like Florida and I guess maybe Louisiana, we've not been getting a lot of rain. So just realize that when you guys say, oh, we get so much rain, I'm covered up in rainfall. That hasn't been all of us. So be a little sensitive, just be a little cognizant of that. Because I finally got my pre-emergent down. First time using spectacle flow, I have St. Augustine. Cool. Very nice. Very, very cool stuff, man. You will like the results you get with it. It's a great product. Again, I'm not saying I've tested a lot of the common pre-emergents, and spectacle by far is my favorite. Again, it's not cheap, but it costs what it costs because, in my opinion, it's you really can't go wrong with it for a fall pre-emergent. Again, assuming you have warm season turf grass, it's only for warm season lawns. Mike Friends from Facebook is on. He says, I sprayed wood sorrel yellow and red, and it came back 4 weeks after using Q4 and some places dismissed. Any idea why? Thanks. It's a good question. I'm not sure, Mike. So you sprayed a herbicide, you sprayed Q4 on it, it yellowed, and then it came back in 4 weeks. Yeah, so are you sure that the couple things, assuming that product is labeled for use or labeled to control wood sorrel, you may have to look at the rate that you use because you may have to go up on the rate for that product, or there are some weeds that take more than one application. So take for example, like doveweed or Virginia buttonweed. If you use Celsius, great product, great herbicide. But if you're going to use it to go after doveweed, like one application is highly unlikely to do it. It takes more than one application to control that particular weed. So perhaps wood sorrel is one of those that you have to do multiple apps to get rid of it. So I would check the label. Assuming that's on the label, there might be some guidance on there that recommends like a specific rate for that weed, or you just may have to do another app to get it fully gone. I mean, but that combo sounds pretty potent. Q4 and dismiss. Dismiss is pretty between all of that should, I would have thought that would have done it, but I would check the label and make a decision accordingly. So hope that helps, sir. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but again, assuming that you are using the correct herbicide for that weed, it just sounds like you just may need another application. All right, next up we got Steven Wynn. He says, happy Friday, y'all. Smash that like button. Got here late. Was putting down pre-emergent. It's okay. Steven, if you are late because you're out you're mowing your lawn, you're putting out your pre-emergent, you're fertilizing, something related to lawn care, that's completely okay. He says, 5-day soil temp was 72, but it's supposed to warm up some next week. Hopefully I didn't apply too early. It's going to be fine. I really wouldn't worry about it, Steven. Assuming you're not applying spectacle and you are doing something like prodiamine, you can always do another application later on in the fall if you want. Again, when it comes to pre-emergent, it's a little bit early is better than a bit late. I have yet to have someone say, hey, I applied my pre-emergent early, like you were saying, and I had like a ton of problems in my lawn. Normally it's the other way around. And so people are waiting to say, I'm going to wait to the absolute last minute to get my pre-emergent down, as those are the ones that tend to have problems versus people that get it out a little bit early. So I wouldn't worry about it. The temperature is going to fluctuate, between now and when, fall really hits and we get consistent cool temperatures. But getting your pre-emergent out early is not a bad plan, Stephen. Okay, Chantal is up next. She says, applying fertilizer tomorrow, fingers crossed. If I wanted to granular humic max, of course, at 3 pounds per thousand and spoon feed the golf course lawn 22-3 and micros, what rate should I use to the liquids? This is a great question, Chantal. So for humic max, 3 pounds per thousand, the label will have a rate for that. And if not, on the golf course lawn store under the how to use section, the rates we have for the other spreaders will get you applying it at 3 pounds per thousand. If you're mixing the micros and the liquid fertilizer together, so I'll show you really quick. If you're mixing these two guys, so per the label, when I put this together with the Andersons, the label is going to tell you to do 6 ounces per thousand for each product, which is correct if you're applying them by themselves or you're applying them with something else. Whenever you're mixing the 22-3 along with a micronutrient, I would apply the 22-3 at 6 ounces per thousand. And the micronutrient, I would reduce the rate to 3 ounces per thousand. Reason being is that the 22-3 is many ways kind of an all-in-one fertilizer. It has many of the micronutrients that are in the micronutrient, save boron, copper, there's like one other, and then the amount of micronutrient in this is more. So there's not a real need to apply this at full rate along with this at full rate. So I would say 6 ounces per thousand for the 22-3, and then 3 ounces per thousand for the micronutrient. That's going to produce a great result for you. Going to produce a great result. So if we want to do some quick math, if you say you're going to use a 4-gallon backpack sprayer and you're spraying 4,000 square feet because you like to make math easy for me because you're that kind of gal, right? What I would say is for the 22-3, you'd use a total of 24 fluid ounces of that. I don't have, I got it right here. You'd use a total of 24 fluid ounces of the 22-3 in 4 gallons of water. And then for the micronutrient, you would use a total of 12 ounces of that in the same 4 gallons of water. And that's going to be a great blend that'll work great over 4,000 square feet. Your neighbors will be asking you questions, how your lawn looks so green, and you'll be the talk of the neighborhood. And you'll also get more applications out of your micronutrient because you'll be using less of it, right? So again, the stuff's not cheap, so why not make it go as far as it can? All right. Hope that helps, Chantel. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Next up is Ruben Flores. He says, I just wanted to share for all the dog owners out there, I finally found a supplement that prevents lawn burn on Amazon. Pet Honesty Max Strength, no more yellow spots, and good for your dog's health. Huh, interesting, Ruben. So I guess, I've never tried that. I don't have a dog, but I guess it's worth looking into if you guys that have dogs and are afraid of or having issues with pet damage. You know what? I'm going to take a screenshot of this and I'll send it to Alex because I know he has Stella. And I'll tell you, that dog, there's a section of the lawn between his lawn and my lawn where she always goes there to go to the bathroom. And it is like scorched earth. Like there's death. I mean, just the death 10 times over in that area of the lawn. So bad that even I can show you guys a short. Some of it even runs down into my lawn. That area of my lawn also struggles because of how potent that area is. So yeah, if this actually works and keeps, helps with that, then, and has no adverse effects for the puppy, for the dog, then yeah, I don't see why not. I was joking to them. I said, you know, dude, when we're all dead and gone, and people like, you know, archaeologists come and they dig in this area, and they're gonna be like, wow, grass just doesn't grow here. Hundreds of years later, there's still no grass growing here. It'll be Stella's spot because of how how much she always goes in that one area over and over and over again. All right, thanks for that, Ruben. I appreciate it. I'm sure some others will get some value out of it. All right. Next is Stephen Vossi says, what can I do over the winter to increase my CEC? I just got my soil tests back. Macros and pH are okay, but CEC is only 4.1. So Stephen, what I would do as far as improving your soil's ability to make nutrients available for the plant, I'm a big fan of granular biostimulants. So what I use on my lawn every month, and you know, countless customers also use it and have great results, is a product called Essential G. So it's a product that has compost, biochar, reclaimed coffee grounds. There's a bit of everything in it, but really the biochar and compost is what will help with that. So this is what I recommend. The thing with Essential G is you can apply it year round as long as the ground isn't frozen. So if you happen to live in Florida or Georgia, like here, the ground doesn't really freeze here, doesn't get cold enough for long enough for that to happen. So you could literally apply this every month if you wanted to help improve the soil quality and nutrient availability in your soil. So this is something, a product along the lines of this is what I would recommend. This is what I currently use on my lawn, and that's what I would go with. So I'll send you a link to where you can read about it, and if you decide to pick some up, great. But that is what I would go with. That's what I would use. Hope that helps. Again, the big thing is kind of like any other granular products, the ground can't be frozen or shouldn't be frozen whenever you apply it to the lawn. All right, next up is Colin. He says, yes, definitely agree with you that on a smaller lawn in comparison to a bigger lawn, the thing I like is the attention to detail is basically in one area as opposed to multiple areas in a bigger lawn. That is true. Like a smaller lawn is easier to take care of. It's like there's no penalty for getting out there and edging the lawn more frequently and just in general just taking better care of it because it's smaller. You know, that's why you look at like Augusta National. That's what's so impressive about it, because it's a massive course. And like if you ever get the chance, because even TV doesn't really do it justice, even all the areas that you never even see on television look good. Like the course itself is incredible, but like the areas that don't even really make it on TV as much, even those areas are manicured, which is really impressive given such a large space. Because it's just, you know, and if you compare it to other courses on the PGA Tour, they don't look like that. You know what I mean? So it just shows you the bigger you go, the more difficult it is, the more resources it takes, money, people, time to make it look good. So those of you with smaller lawns, man, don't feel like you're really missing out or lacking by having a smaller lawn. It's just, there's a lot of benefits to not having as much to take care of. It says, what does the dish soap do? It just causes the worms to come to the surface. Camus 83-489. So yeah, put some a couple ounces of dish soap in a bucket of water, and then pour that on the area, and it's going to cause them to show up. All right. Next up is JK. He says, is it too late for a height of cut reset in North Georgia? I wouldn't, but it's really your call, JK. I mean, if your goal is do the height of cut reset because you just want to lower the height of cut, and with the knowledge that it may not green up fully before the lawn goes dormant, then if you want to, fine. I mean, being in Georgia, we can, we don't get crazy, so we don't get snow on the ground that stays for any period of time. It doesn't get really cold here for winters. So as far as you doing something that is like a cardinal sin on your lawn, as far as like height of cut choices going into the late fall or winter, there's not really a ton of mistakes you can really make. It's just that most people that ask this question are doing it because they want to get their lawn to green up again before it goes dormant. And I don't know if that's really going to happen, given that temperatures are already cooling off here. So are you going to hurt anything? No. When I do it personally, no. But it's really up to you. You're not going to hurt anything if you decide you want to go ahead and do that, JK. All right, Mario is up next. He says, I've been lowering my Bermuda the last 2 weeks, 1 inch at a time from almost 7 inches. Bermuda is 3 inches today. I was on vacation for 40 days. What kind of vacation were you on, man? Wow. And the guy I left in charge didn't cut that often. Yeah, so you've been okay. So you've been bringing it down slowly over time. Yeah, I mean that's all you can do if you want to try and maintain as much color as possible. But a 4-day vacation, man. What kind of life you're living? That sounds pretty good to me. 40 days of vacay, serious. But yes, what you're doing is exactly right, Mario. If you want to maintain color as you bring the height of cut down. Okay, next up is James Smith. He says, Ron, the drink of the night. I'm going plain tonight, just water. Lawn fam, let's make sure we give Ron a like. We all know he sleeps better the more he gets. That is true. Guys, we have 87 people in the live stream and only 78 likes. We're behind. So if you're here in the live stream, if you're enjoying the show, if you're not enjoying the show, hit the like button, hit the dislike button. Interaction is all the same. So if you could do that, I'd really appreciate it. Sends good vibes to YouTube and gets more people coming our way. As far as the drink of the evening, James, it is that watermelon and ginger puree mix and a bit of lemonade and a bit of water. So really tasty. If you ever get a chance to try it out, it's kind of labor intensive to make, but you take like just watermelon and cut it off the husk, throw it in a blender, purify it. You run the blender till it's like a puree, and then run it through a strainer into like multiple mason jars, and then you can use that and in whatever cocktail or drink you want to have. The thing is, it's going to settle out. What's kind of cool about it is that it really shows you how much water really is in watermelon, because you're going to have to literally shake the mason jar every time before you decide to pour it out, because all of the heavier bits of it will literally settle to the bottom. But it's really tasty. Ginger, depending on your taste, you can add some of that. I like it. And yeah, it's a fun drink. Goes in anything. If you have a cocktail, libation, something you like to drink, you want to add a little fruit flavor to it, you can do that, or you can just mix it with lemonade, or you can just drink it by itself. All are great options. Colin is up next. He says, "Oh yeah, Ron, I forgot to mention I ended up getting through part 2 of the monetization process. Awesome, congratulations, man. We gotta give it up for you. Congrats, it's a big step. Just a time thing, man. I'm glad you got through it. That's pretty awesome. Being able to monetize your channel is a big step. So keep going. Enjoy the process. It's a lot of. Make sure you make content that you enjoy and you love making. So just stick with it." Nate is up next. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Just had my TIF Tough sod laid yesterday. I shouldn't do a pre-emergent until it's been in for a season. A season is a question. Is it still okay to apply a soliprin or anything else once the sod roots?" Yeah, so on a Bermuda lawn, I would give it 3 months. You know, every other grass type, zoysia, you may want to give it. The one viewer that asked earlier, I'd say 6 months for zoysia if you're really trying to be conservative. But Bermuda, 3 months, you're going to be fine. So in your case, the spring is when you're going to want to do pre-emergent. As far as insecticide, fungicide, like all of that is okay. That's not going to negatively impact the lawn's ability to root in. You could do that like tomorrow if you wanted to. It's not going to hurt anything. But it's herbicides that you want to be careful with. So I would avoid blanket spraying the lawn. Don't do that. And I would avoid pre-emergent really until next spring, given that you just did it yesterday. So water it, get its root in, mow it, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the new lawn, man. Congrats! It's always a cool thing to get a new lawn. So yeah, the only thing you really want to avoid is pre-emergent until at least 3 months. So next spring is what I would say if you're trying to be really conservative. So we'll give you some DAP for that, man. Congrats on the new TIF Tough sod. All right, next is Mario. He says, it's still looking kind of high. So those of you that are tuning in now, Mario's the one that went on vacation for a month and 10 days. And the person he left to mow the lawn didn't really mow the lawn. He says, it's still high, but looking kind of brownish green. Can I keep lowering the height to let it come back green at 3 inches? Yeah, so there's a couple ways you can look at this, Mario. You can keep stepping it down slowly over time on what you're doing. You're probably going to run out of season, though, depending on how tall the lawn is, before you get it back down to 3 inches. That brown that you're seeing is just the fact that you're cutting off too much leaf, or you're cutting off too much leaf in one session, which is why you're getting that discoloration. It's not going to kill the Bermuda or anything, and more than anything else, it just looks ugly. Like it hurts you more than it hurts the grass. So it's really your call if you want to continue stepping it down like you have been. Because it sounds like to me your goal is to maintain the color as much as possible. That's going to be your best bet. Alternatively, you could cut it down to say 2 3/4 inches all in one go, so 2.75 inches, and then let it grow in, that 1/4 inch to get it back to 3 inches and have some green that way. So either one of those will work. The second option is going to be faster. It's going to look ugly for a while, but it'll get you there faster. Again, I don't know how tall your lawn is. You didn't tell me how high you are. If you're like 6 inches, you're probably not going to make it before the end of the season. So just something to keep in mind, that what you're doing is the way to do it if you're trying to maintain color as you lower the height of cut. But we are running out of, out of temperature and daylight. So just something to keep in mind. Jacob is up next. He says, hey, Ron, how are you? I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. He says, what are your thoughts on the Revolution 26 compared to the Rolex 25? Appreciate your honest opinion, first-time buyer. Okay, Jacob, so the Revolution 26, and let me actually give you some foundation. Whenever Real Rollers was looking at different mowers to use as the foundation for the Revolution 26, and regardless of what they went with, Lee knew that he was going to have to modify it extensively, make a bunch of changes to create a mower that was more fit for the U.S. market. So Rolex was one of the considerations. The mower, what is the name of the company that makes the mower that Revolution is based on? I'm drawing a blank. It's green whenever you get it from them. It's not black. It's a green mark. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but anyway. So I got to mow with the Rolex. I mowed with the California Trimmer, McLean, True Cuts, a couple other mowers that he got in to try out. And so what I'm about to say about the Rolex is based on the mower that I got to use, early last year when we were going through this whole process, and he wanted my opinion on it. And what I didn't care for with the Rolex is the way the handlebars are, and I'm not sure if they're still the same way, but I didn't like the handlebars that are like what you have on a like an old school bicycle. I didn't care for that because the weight of that mower is set up, it tends to be, or the unit that we had anyway, was more biased towards the back of the mower. So with the handlebars being like this, if you put any kind of push into the handlebars, any kind of downward input into the handlebars, you're gonna raise the front roller, which is gonna produce an uneven cut. So that was the one thing. I made a couple of passes with it, and I was like, I mean, one, it's different to what I normally used to, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that. That stood out to me right away. That that getting an even cut with this, you have to be very conscious to not put any kind of downward pressure on the handlebars, because the mower the front of the roller would come up really well. There were some cool things about it. If memory serves me, they have some kind of reel setup where it throws the grass towards the center, which is kind of cool for filling the basket evenly. The negative to that I thought was that if someone doesn't mow with a grass catcher, you're going to have some big lines in your lawn. So that was another thing about it that I didn't really care for. Again, that may have changed in the units they're shipping now, because again, the one I got to mow with was one that was like last year. What else? I think there's the Briggs in it that I didn't care for. Overall, I just prefer the Revolution over the Rolex. But keep in mind that I'm comparing the Revolution as it sits now compared to a Rolex that Real Rollers had early last year. So there's just that. I mean, it's like the handlebar situation on the Revolution is more traditional. It's more in line with the greens mower. It's more in line with what I'm used to and what most real mowers have. The weight distribution is better, meaning that the height, the cut is more even. The mower's not prone to like pop a wheelie and produce an uneven cut. So for me, if I were in the market for buying a mower sub $3,000, then the Revolution is what I would be looking at. The next step up from the Revolution would be to get a greens mower. Greens mower, and then into the cartridge mowers, but that's a whole different animal altogether. So I'd either be buying a Revolution or I'd be buying a greens mower. So that's what my thoughts on it is. So I mean, what I'd say is this: get one, or go if they have like a demo place, like go to Real Rollers and try it out if you're here in Georgia, or if Rolex has a place where you can demo one, go demo one and try it out and see what you think, because it's a very personal thing. I just didn't like. I've been real mowing for a while, and the handlebar situation, I just did not care for it, because I know it's one of these things that is, in my opinion, is different for the sake of being different, with with really no upside that I could see. It's really more, if anything, is a negative. So that's for that reason alone, I would never own one for that. Like if I got one, I'd have to change the handlebars to more traditional, like hoop style handlebar, like Allen has, that like John Deere's have, that Toro have, that Alice have, that pretty much any mower, most other real mowers have. Even True Cut with its handlebars that are like this, even though they're not like the full hoop style, it's still like this and not like this. So you're not much less likely to, again, like pop a wheelie, like to raise the front of the mower whenever you're cutting with it. So I'm sure I'm gonna get tons of hate for this segment from all the Rolex fanboys, but I'm just giving you my opinion. Not saying it's right or wrong. It's just my opinion, just my observations on how I feel about it. So hopefully that helps, Jacob. What I would say is go somewhere where you can either find a buddy that has one and try it out. If you're here in Georgia, you can go buy real rollers, try one out, and you decide for yourself which one is best for you. The Revolution has a lot of really good technology in it. The mower's been refined a lot, based on a lot of things that Lee wanted to have in the mower. I provided a small amount of feedback saying, hey, here's what makes greens mowers really awesome. If you can incorporate some of this into this, that would be really good. And he did. So for me, for a sub $3,000 mower, it's really tough to beat the Revolution 26. So hopefully that helps. All right, next up is Jimmy Miller. He says, Ron, I emailed you some photos earlier of some old reel mowers. I have a friend who has offered them to me for free. Problem is finding someone to refurbish them. Any ideas? Has RealWorks closed? That's a good question. I've heard that. I'm not sure if RealWorks is closed, but you're the second person that's told me they haven't been able to get a hold of RealWorks. They can't call, or when they went by there, it seems like no one's there. So I don't know if they're closed or not. It's kind of sounding like it based on what I'm hearing. As far as refurbishing the mowers, I'm not sure what you sent me. If I can find you really quick here, Jimmy. It was like a really old True Cut. Yeah, yeah, it was like a True Cut, it was like a McLean, a trimmer. I don't know. I'm not sure who you could have redo these, Jimmy. You got a 1979 True Cut. That's kind of cool. Unless it's gotten better in recent months, it's still challenging to get parts for True Cut real mowers. I'm not sure if that's gotten better, but last time I checked, it was not great. So yeah, it's a 79 True Cut. If you really you have the nostalgia, you just want to, restore it, I guess you could. But I don't have anyone that I can recommend as far as who could do that, because the big thing is you're gonna run into is just parts. Getting the parts to be able to do it is a thing. Like a person that has the skill to do it, that shouldn't be too bad. It's more so just them being able to get the parts for it. You got an 89 California trimmer. Let's see here. I can show folks that. So a trimmer from 89. It's before some of you guys were born, right? Yeah. So an old school trimmer. Yeah. The big thing is just finding. There's no one I can recommend, Jimmy. Of those mowers, I'd imagine the trimmer is going to be likely easier to get parts for than the True Cut. And it's really your call if you decide you want to pursue that. There's not really anyone that I can recommend, unfortunately. All right, Devin is up next. He says, what's up, Ron? Looking forward to some great turf talk. Busy few weeks getting all of our fall aeration finished up at the course. Glad it's done, but sad that it means our season is winding down. Yeah, you've had a rough season, Devin. You told me you guys were not getting a whole lot of rain. Then you got some rain, but for the most part, it sounds like this year's been drier for you guys as it has been for the rest of the country. But good stuff, man. I'll have to get you on the live stream at some point. Once everything settles down, it's quiet, and it's a good night for you. We have to get you on the live stream, and you can come regale us with all the tales of taking care of the course and, answer lots of questions for the cool season folk. It would be great. All right, next up is Two Trilla from Manila. Not really, but I keep saying it. He says, hey, Ron, and happy Friday, everyone. Here to enjoy the show and looking forward to the turf party next weekend, weather permitting. That's a good point, guys. Next weekend, the 14th, September 14th, is the turf party at Real Rollers. So I think it's from 12 to 3 is when they're doing it. So yeah, if you guys want to come, go, I guess, mow with a bunch of different types of mowers. I actually saw that they have a greens mower there now. They actually have a greens mower there. I actually saw it there the other day. It's pretty cool. So I think they're going to have that running and good to go for you guys to use that. or to try it if you want. But yeah, it should be a good time for a few hours next Saturday. All right. Next we have Rasheed Turner. He says, can you take a look at the California Trimmer Aerator cartridge? It looks like spikes. They look small. I wonder how effective they'll be. I haven't purchased any cartridges yet. I think the aerator may be the most important. No. So here's what I would say, Rasheed. I haven't looked at the cartridges they have. For me, I have the Verticutter, I have a turf rake or scarifier, and I have what Alec calls the sorrow roller or your aeration cartridge, which is like a spike aerator. The turf rake and Verticutter I would buy definitely before I got the aerator, because what you're going to find is being able to verticut the lawn throughout the growing season when it begins to thicken up is really going to help you maintain a consistent cut throughout the season. So given the choice, the aerator would be the last one that I would buy by far. I would get a turf rake first, and I'd probably do Verticutter or turf rake. I'd probably get the Verticutter first. If I can only get one extra cartridge, probably the Verticutter. Yeah, probably the Verticutter. So the Verticutter, and then the turf rake, and then distant third is the aeration cartridge. Because to your point, it is a spike aerator, and I don't know how long the spikes are. Like on the Alep, they are 2 inches, 2¼ inches maybe, and that's a really heavy unit, so it actually works. The catalyst, I don't imagine, is very heavy, and weight is an important part of that being able, being able to penetrate into the soil. So that one, I'm not saying you can't get it, but it'd be the last one on my list if it were me. NMS Auditor is up next. He says, I used Spectacle Flow for the past 2 seasons and it worked perfectly. I watched a video for the University of Tennessee, recommended using additional products along with Spectacle Flow with different modes of action for resistance. Interesting, NMS Auditor. I've not done that, but I'm sure there could be some value in mixing other herbicides in along with it. Let me think, have I ever mixed anything else with Spectacle? Oh, you know what? Last year for the December app, I put a little bit of certainty in the tank along with it. So that I did do. I did mix a bit of post-emergent herbicide along with Spectacle in November, December last year. I think I did a video on that. If not, there's a short on it. So yeah, I'll have to look up that content that you're talking about, NMS Otter. Interesting. All right, next up is Frank V. He says, just got Spectacle Flow. What rate do you go out with? Do you go out with the dual split app rate of 6 ounces per acre or single app of 10 ounces per acre? Trying to control sedges and Kalinga. Thank you, Ron. I've done both ways, Frank, and I've gotten great results with doing both the single application or the split app. So if you're doing a split app, it works out to right at 1/10 of an ounce per 1,000 square feet. I did one this past weekend, and then I will spray again in December, and that's worked well for me. So it's really your call. If you've got the time and you don't mind doing it, doing 2 applications, is going to probably give you a little bit longer coverage, more extension on the coverage. But either way has worked well. Like I said, I've done both. I've done a single app at the heavier rate, and I've done an app, done split apps, and in both cases, it did a great job controlling, in my case, what I'm after, which is POA Ana. This time of year, sedges and Kalinga, yeah, but I mean, sedges shouldn't be too bad this time of year. It's really more POA Ana. All right. Next up is Tom V. He says, hey, Ron, rented an aerator last week for my 15,000 square foot yard, applied some growth regulator to keep the existing grass growth under control. Going to oversee tomorrow and then lightly top dress with a compost spreader. Fingers crossed. Sounds like a fun time, Tom. Enjoy it. Next up is John Southern. He says, is it too late to verticut zoysia? I'm in San Antonio. Not too late. I mean, I wouldn't go too aggressive with it as yet. I wouldn't go too aggressive, John. Just, be sensible about it. But yeah, if you want to do a light verticut this time of year, that would be okay. Next up is Instagram user. Says, are we in the dormant season yet? No, I mean, the lawns are starting to slow down as far as how quickly they're growing, but lawns around, at least not around here, haven't gone dormant or even started really going dormant as yet. That's really going to start happening in mid-October, if past years or anything like this year. Instagram user. All right, Tom Hoffenkamp is up next. He says, happy Friday, y'all. Thanks, Ron, for all the great advice. It's 112 degrees out. Goodness gracious, man. And the lawn looks fabulous. Prevention of issues plus the golf course lawn nutrition plan is a recipe for domination. I know proof. Pics tomorrow. Very, very cool. Yeah, send pictures to man. So won't make it on this week's show, but if I can get the pictures from you, Tom, I will put them in the folder for next Friday so we can show folks what your lawn is looking like. We all need motivation because our lawns are starting to slow down here, and if we can have some really good looking lawns going into the fall, be motivation for folks. So definitely send pictures if you don't mind tomorrow whenever you get a free minute. All right, next up is Rasheed Turner. He says, for someone that loves mowing, I am shocked you haven't overseeded. It's a fair point, Rasheed, but the problem is with overseeding is that it means that I have to mow in the wintertime, and given that I'm originally from the Caribbean, I don't like cold weather. I don't like cold weather. Like, I have friends, a good friend of mine, he says, hey man, we should go do something in the wintertime. It'd be really cool. We can go skiing. And I'm like, why would I go? I said, first of all, everyone that I know that's gone skiing, like, it's a great way to get knee injuries. And then you're saying I'm going to leave like a perfectly warm house or cabin or whatever it happens to be and go outside and like in the cold, and that's going to be fun. Plus, I don't have any ski equipment. I don't have ski clothing. I have to go buy all of it. And I'm not going to like it because I don't like cold weather. And I don't want to have to go out and mow in the cold. So that's why it's a big part of why I don't overseed, because I don't want to have to go out in cold weather and mow my lawn. It can be hot. Like, for example, I'll mow my lawn when in the middle of the day when it's super hot, no problem at all. I don't mind sweating at all. That's no issues with that. But I do not like cold weather. So cold weather is a big reason why I don't do it, Rasheed. Sorry. All right, next up is Jared George. He says, appreciate it, Ron. I was thinking of dropping it just one notch and then maintaining my current. So maybe not a true how to cut reset. We will see. Thanks. Here's the thing, Jared. If you want to, with a lawn, feel free to also play with things a little bit too. You can experiment, here and there. And I mean, as long as you're doing it sensibly. If you want to go out and do a how to cut change this time of year, not something I would necessarily do, but if you want to give it a shot and see what happens, you can absolutely do that. It's not gonna do any permanent damage, especially given you have Bermuda. It's really, really hard to get rid of or permanently harm Bermuda, even if you want to. So it's just grass, man. It's pretty hard to commit like a cardinal sin that's going to be impossible to recover from. So go out and have fun with it, experiment, and just report back. Let us know how it works out for you. Alan Coleman Jr. is up next. He says, sorry, I'm late to the stream. I had to get the cut in and throw down the spectacle flow before the rain we're supposed to have this weekend. Bro, listen, that's a great reason. You don't need to apologize. You were out doing lawn care stuff. Listen, Oliver, I don't think Oliver even apologizes anymore. Like, Oliver Ridham, you think he's out of either Texas or Oklahoma? Like, at first he used to, but now he's like, hey, listen, man, I was out doing the work. I was putting the work in, getting the lawn mowed, and then I'll show up when I show up, which I have to respect that. Man's working on his lawn. You're out there mowing your lawn. You're putting out your pre-emergent. What am I going to say? No, come and watch the live stream that you can also watch on replay tomorrow if you want to, and neglect your mowing and neglect your pre-emergent. That would be like when people say make that make sense. That would be like a make that make sense type, expectation. So you're mowing your lawn. You put your pre-emergent out. That you are doing the right thing. This is second to taking care of your lawn. Shane McDonald says, thank you for the info. You are very welcome, Shane. No worries at all. And then Chantel says, Ron, you're right. Okay, I appreciate that. And Terrence Stamps is up. He says, good evening, Ron and crew. Hope everyone has had a great week. Ron, thanks for answering my email question about the bare spots in my lawn. Yeah, no worries, Terrence. And guys, I've been getting a lot of questions as far as like, I've got this one my lawn looks really great, but I got this one little area that's kind of bare or thin. What does it mean? Here's the thing. This summer, we're going in the fall now, but this summer has been incredibly dry for a lot of the country. And sometimes the lawn can just discolor because of just lack of water. Like that's really a thing. So, your lawn, when I get pictures from people, a lot of times when they're showing me, they're saying, no, this is terrible. I'm not sure what's going wrong. And this, that, and the other. It's like, for example, Lance's pictures, right? He sent pictures and saying, I've got some issues in the lawn. And the first picture he sent was this one. And I'm like, well, not that one. Not that one. I think it's this one. Hang on. Let me see if I can show. Yeah. First picture is that one. I'm like, what's wrong with that? That looks great. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what more you want? But then if you zoom in and you look at like right here, there's a little bit of discoloration in some spots. You look here, it's got a small little issue. And and I am guilty of this too. So I'm kind of like, I'm saying this is almost like self-therapy to some extent, right? I can assure you that even though we look at our lawns and all we really see are all the bad parts and things that aren't going right and the color's not the way we want it to be and there's like a bare spot here and there's a mole trying to come in, there's just all you see is the problems. To 99.99999% of the people that see your lawn as they drive by, they are absolutely envious of it. They said, I would love to someday have a lawn that looks half as good as that. So it's important to enjoy the process and realize that the lawn is never going to be perfect the entire season. Like I always say, even with my lawn, like late May going into June, like that 2 to 3 week period is when I think my lawn looks its absolute best. Before then, looks okay. After then, looks okay. And I just I come to terms with that. That's just the way it's going to be. So with your lawn, don't drive yourself crazy chasing perfection or chasing continuous perfection. What I say you want to do is be happy with small glimpses of perfection. Like we have like a week or two where your lawn looks absolute, like it's on fire. Everything is the way it should be. Color's awesome. Like you can be like Augusta National, like, eat your heart out. You're taking pictures for the gram, all that kind of stuff. And just enjoy that. Enjoy the fact that it's not that way all the time. And when you finally get it and it all comes together, that you can enjoy that while it looks that way. And then the rest of the year, it just still looks like top 10% of lawns, but doesn't look like how you want it to look. So just want to say that because I need to hear that too myself. All right, Chantel is next. She says, Ron, you're right. My bad, y'all. I retract my statement. Ron, you, man, keep up the great work. I appreciate it, Chantel. And then next up is Radman 1986. He says, would you recommend using prodiamine in the fall and barricade in the spring for my cool season lawns, pre-emergent apps, or is having one good enough? So prodiamine and barricade are the same. Okay, so barricade is a brand name for prodiamine. So it's like Syngenta's, it's the brand name of the active ingredient prodiamine. So they're the same product. So if you use prodiamine in the fall, then switching to a different pre-emergent in the spring, like Dimension with the active ingredient dithiopyr, is a good idea. So what you would not want to do is use, prodiamine in the fall and use your allocation in the fall, and then say go to get like some barricade in the spring. I think you're doing something different because they're the same AI. You know what I mean? So you don't want to do that. So hope that helps, Rad 1986. If you're using prodiamine in the fall, switching to something like Dimension / dithiopyr in the spring is a good idea. Hope that helps, sir. But I think you already knew that. You know that they're the same thing. I think you probably a slip of the keyboard. Some of the keyboards would happen there, right? You know that they are the same. They're effectively the same active ingredient, right? All right. Next up is Tom Hoffenkamp. He says, oh, forgot my question. If you got a crazy week of hot temps, do you up the water? I've gone every other day until this ends. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Tom. You can increase the water sporadically. I mean, based on the conditions you're having. I've been sticking for the most part with 3 times per week. I'm going to start tapering that back here probably next week. I'll go from 3 times a week to just to twice a week. I've been doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and what I'll likely do is I'll switch to Monday, Thursday. I'll likely just go to that and see how the lawn does because it's cooling down now. It doesn't need quite as much water. So yes, you absolutely can make adjustments to your watering program based on conditions, based on temperature, based on your budget. It's also another consideration as well too. Yes, absolutely make adjustments as needed. But keep in mind though, I mean, even though you are going to up your watering some, that, hopefully you're getting some rainfall with all that hot weather you're getting, because, the supplement, like water irrigation, is really meant to be a supplement. Like you can still eventually get behind if all you're relying on is just irrigation. So while you're doing that, make sure you just hope and pray for some rainfall as well too, because nothing cleans up a lawn that's been dry like a rainfall. Irrigation doesn't do it. Really just need that rain. Junius Williams is up next. Says grubs are killing my St. Augustine. Just about everything down. Help. Huh. Okay, Junior, so I'm sorry you're dealing with grub issues in your St. Augustine lawn. The insecticide that I would recommend for that is a product called a celiprin. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, you go to shop and fungicide, insecticide. You're going to want to go with a celiprin either in liquid form, suspension concentrate, or in granular, either celiprin G or celiprin SC. Either one of these will work well. So what I'll do is I'll put the insecticide filter on, and that will make it easier for you to be able to pick this up. This is what I would use on your lawn. That both the granular and liquid work equally well. The liquid's going to work a little bit faster, but they both are very effective. So so hope this helps, Juniors. Sorry you're dealing with grub issues in your lawn. A celiprin is what I use on my lawn. So I use it in March, April timeframe, and then again in August. So hope that helps. That's what I would use, and that should help take care of the grub issue you're dealing with. All right, so we have a super chat. This one's from Mr. Archie Amos.
Super chat received.
Just get those likes up. I appreciate it, Archie. Thank you so much for that, sir. And I think, are you the top now? You know what? Oh man, look, I did Lance dirty. I put his thing on, but I didn't put him up as a show sponsor, but he did the same thing as you. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say Archie and Lance. You guys will both be the show sponsor because you both did the same super chat. So there you go. Your names in lights, whatever that means to you. I appreciate it. Lance, my apologies. And Archie, again, thank you for the super chat and for all the love and consistent support. All right. Next up, we have... Oh, Massport. Yeah, the Instagram user says Massport. Yeah, that is what the Revolution mower, like the foundation was built on, the Massport. Yep, thank you for that. All right, Io Means says... This is Io from Birmingham, or is it from, I can't even say it. I say, in the States we say Birmingham, but how you say it in the UK? Is it Birmingham? I can't say it how like a British person would say it. But I'm from Birmingham, England. I grow fruit, generally speaking. Are these pre-post weed stillers safe for food production? No, I would not put these on crop that you're gonna eat. I would not. They are for ornamental. They're for turf grass. They're for turf grass, for like decorative grass, not stuff you're gonna eat. All right, next up is Stephen Wynn. Stephen Wynn is up next. He says, you said wait a few months for pre-emergent for new Bermuda sod. Would you wait the same for post-emergent? Yeah, so for post-emergent, the big thing I'd say is spot spray. I wouldn't blanket spray a newly sodded Bermuda lawn in the first few months. Now, if you get like 4 or 6 weeks in, you got a couple of areas where there's like a big clump of weeds and you don't want to pull it, or you can't pull it, or you just, whatever, for whatever reason, you're just not going to pull it, and you can limit the spray just to that. You just spot spraying. That I don't have as much issue with. But what I don't want you doing is you go out and you sod a new lawn or seed a new lawn, and then like 3 weeks in, as soon as the lawn germinates, because you're seeing some weeds here and there, you go out and blanket spray the entire lawn with herbicide. Like I would not do that. Like that's what you really want to avoid. Spot spraying here and there is okay, but just you want to really, you want to reserve blanket spraying for whenever you have a lawn that's just really overrun and that you're trying to clean up. It's something you really shouldn't have to do on a regular basis. All right. Bumpy Lump says, lots of rain in Houston, Texas. The lawn looks great. Awesome. Glad to hear that, Bumpy Lump. Glad to hear someone's getting a whole lot of rain. And then Jimmy Miller says... He says, sitting here watching your stream and filling out the info for my soil test bags, as dry as it's been, I might need some TNT to get the probe into the ground for the soil samples. Yeah, I hear you, man. It can be tough to get the cores out of compacted dry soil. And then he said, I contacted the California trimmer dealer. It looks like the base 25 trimmer is priced the same or around the same as Revolution 26 plus shipping. Cool, good to know. All right, Tom Hoffenkamp says, by the way, are you buying watermelon in bulk? My family loves them so much they would revolt if we started juicing them instead of serving them up. I am the chef here. No, like not really. Just like one at a time, really, as the big thing. Because I don't know where to put them all. So just one at a time is pretty good. Like some of them they'll get like cubed and put into a container so I can snack on it, and then the rest of it gets turned in a juice. But it's like a running it's like a running thing, Tom. You know, so it's not like we wait till I'm like completely out of like watermelon to eat or out of the puree of the drink. When it starts running low, get more and just make more. So you never really run out if you do it that way. But I get it. If you take all of it and you turn all of it into puree, you might have a problem. So just don't do that. I would get like a separate one first that you use for your puree, and then you can, the family's happy, and then everything's good. You get to have your juice, and everyone also has theirs to eat. All right, Devin says, absolutely, I would love to join you on the stream. I'll send some dates soon. Awesome. Sounds good, man. Sounds like a plan. We'll make it happen. And then next up is Jacob. He says, appreciate your opinion, Ron. I will most likely go with Revolution. Yeah, man. I mean, it's a great mower. Here's the thing. You can get great results with any real mower. And what I am giving you, when you ask me, when you say, hey, Ron, what's your opinion on mower XYZ, or what's your opinion on this, that, and the other? It literally is my opinion. I'm an expert on my opinion, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's, it's not gospel. It's not the only way to do things. It's just based on what I like in a mower, what's important to me. Like, does it check these boxes? And because I've been real mowing for a number of years, I a lot of times what I tend to like in a mower is what a lot of other people tend to like in a mower, but doesn't necessarily mean that's the case for everybody. So what I'd say is Revolution, excellent choice. Nothing wrong with trying both mowers out and seeing which one you like better. But yeah, I will tell you that the Revolution, I have that, and I have a Greensmaster 1600, and there's not a lot in between them. I mean, the Greensmaster is just more solidly built, like it's more heavier mower. It's built like a commercial. It's a really heavy piece of equipment. But as far as the cut quality, there's not a lot of difference in between them. Like if I look at it, I can look at the lawn because I'm very familiar with how both mowers cut and be able to tell you which part was cut with it, which section was cut with the Revolution and which section was cut with the Greensmaster. But I could bring most people onto my lawn and say, take a look and tell me which one was which, and they wouldn't be able to tell me. As a matter of fact, I did a video doing exactly that. I mowed a section with the Revolution, and then I got the Greensmaster out and I mowed a section with that. And at the distance of where the camera is, like most people you're not going to see a visual difference. So I'd say you're going to be happy with any mower you get. Make sure that, you try it out first, that you can get parts for it, that you're going to maintain it, take good care of it, and you're going to get a good result with any piece of equipment you decide to go with. Revolution is not a bad choice. Not a bad choice at all. Jonathan Camrado is up next. He says, happy Friday. It had been a great season of lawn care. Going to try perennial ryegrass overseed for my backyard Bermuda. Trying to keep the dogs from destroying my dormant lawn like last winter. Okay. So the goal is, I guess when the lawn's, I guess I see what you're after. Because when the lawn's dormant, the grass isn't growing, so all the damage they do, there's nothing is growing in to recover from it. So you're going to try and do ryegrass, so you'll have something that's actively growing, so it'll look more decent. Okay, cool. Keep us posted as far as how it works out, Jonathan. I understand your thought process. We'll have to see if reality matches your expectation. We shall see. Mars Beads says, I hate the cold too, but skiing is so much fun. Everyone says that. Everyone tells me, hey man, you gotta try it. It'll be great. Like you love doing, you're like an athletic person. You would love skiing. I'm like, man, listen, I gotta go buy like coats and pants and all this kind of stuff. And I don't like cold weather. And because here's the thing, I'm not gonna learn skiing without falling over. And you can just see me. So imagine someone that does not like cold weather who's gonna fall over into wet, cold snow. So now I'm wet, I'm cold. It's just, it just sounds like not fun, man. I'm probably wrong. It might be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but just sounds like it just starts with cold. If they were like warm skiing, then I might be down for that. But I don't want to go like somewhere where it's cold. It's not fun. All right, next up is Archie. He says, you don't overseed anyway. My experience is it's not a good practice of Bermuda. Plus color, texture, blades, nothing matches. Yes. I mean, so if you get rid of it, Archie, that's fine. But so if you want, because I mean, look at Roberts. I mean, it can be done. Picture of it. I think you already sent this to me here. I should have. No, yeah, look at me. So that's what you can do. I mean, that is tempting. I got to admit. I mean, think about it. That's domination. I mean, during the normal time, the normal time of the year when everyone else's grass is also green, that's like domination level 9. Do you do that during like October, November, December timeframe. This is like domination level 11, 12, 13. I mean, this is like a whole different level of awesome where you are definitely the coolest guy or gal on the block, but it comes with a price, to your point, right? You got to go through and you got to get rid of it. And you have to mow when it's cold outside. So the getting rid of it part, I have no problem with that. I'd have no issue spraying it out. You know, I'm not going to get mostly attached to ryegrass because it's really just holding down the fort while Bermuda waits to come back in. It's just the mowing in particularly December and January that I would not look forward to. So there's that. All right. Colin says, isn't the revolution based off the Massport? I think I remember Lee saying that before. Yes, it is the Massport. You're absolutely correct. As far as what they changed, I mean, there's a bunch of things, but it's probably easier just to say what they didn't change. I mean, the handlebars setup is different. The fact that a clutch was added to it is different. Where the mower sits, where the engine sits on the mower is different. The front roller is different. They added plates to the side of the mower so it balances better. So it's based like it has a Massport as its foundation, but like the Revolution, and if you put the two of them side by side, which if you guys come to the Surf Park party, you'll be able to see, because I think he still has a Massport or two there. You should be able to look at them side by side, and you know, like the basic shape looks the same. There's a lot that was changed on that mower. A ton was like nothing was not considered as far as when they were making modifications to make it as good as possible for the U.S. market. Even some things that you wouldn't even consider that are particular to the U.S. market, they made those changes as well, like the sprocket and chains that are used, that kind of thing. Things I didn't even think about. All that stuff is different on the Revolution versus a standard run-of-the-mill Massport. So yeah, come to the Surf Park party. You'll be able to check it out. All right. Archie says, sorry, late tonight, man. It's okay. I mean, I know you got stuff going on, Archie. I realize that, you know, there are probably other things you have to do on a Friday night other than watch the live stream. And there is football on tonight. I think they're playing in Brazil. Yeah, that's kind of cool if you guys want to watch NFL and see them. Who's playing? Packers and somebody are playing tonight. I don't think I have anyone in that game. I'm not sure. All right. Dave Justice is up next. He says, every year we get the sod, webworms, and rust I have to deal with, but my neighbors don't. That's not fun, Dave. What I would say for the sod webworms is to look at an insecticide called acelepryn. I kind of sound like a bit broken record, but I'll send this to you really quick. So at Dave, this is the insecticide you want to use for the sod webworms. And as far as rust, you know what? I could give you the answer, but I have this carefully prepared like blog post that we did. Like if you go here, like I'll show you really quick. If you go to the golf course lawn store to resources, I'll go from the homepage, resources, and then blog, like last week's blog was on how to get rid of rust disease in your lawn. So I am not going to talk about it. I'm going to make you read it. A lot of work went into this, and you couldn't have asked for a better segue. So if you're interested in that, Dave Justice, I'll send you a link to that blog post. It's absolutely free to read, and hopefully will help you out with cleaning up the issue with the rust disease in your lawn. And there you go. There you go. Hopefully that helps, sir. Again, our goal is every week to put out a piece of content on the blog on the Golf Course Lawn Store, so feel free to check that out. So last week was on rust. This week's blog is on mowing slopes. So if you got like a slope lawn or just erosion control techniques, like that kind of thing, that's what this week's blog post is on. So if you go back to the resources and then blog, you'll see that managing lawns on slopes, how to mow slopes properly, like what causes erosion, things you can do to help prevent erosion, ground cover choices for erosion, how to mow a slope lawn with a real mower. I kind of showed doing that because I happen to have a slope lawn. So if you guys have a slope and you just want some cool reading, it's not too long, and hopefully you get some value out of it. So that is under the blog, under the resources section on the Golf Course Lawn Store. On the Instagram user says, hey Ron, it's Friday. We want to grow carpet. Yeah, man, I get it. It's a thing, right? It is a thing. And then Lance F says, Ron, I want to up my game. Hudson Star or a 20-inch reel rollers, both about the same price. Man, a powered reel mower is a thing of beauty. I mean, I'm sure that Hudson Star cuts great, but it's really tough to beat a powered reel mower. If it were me, for the same or similar money, I'm buying the 20-inch Revolution over a manual push reel mower. The benefits, the pros and cons of this. The pros to the manual real mower is that you don't have to buy gas for it. I guess there's technically less maintenance because you don't have like an engine to take care of. The negative is that it's unlikely to produce as good a cut as the Revolution will. Because also with the Revolution 20, I asked to leave this. The 26 first came with a 6-blade reel. The 20 likely will be available with multiple reel sizes. I know they're doing a 6-blade. There might also be a 10-blade. Because I know the 10-blade is being worked on for the big mower. So the 20 might be available with a 10-blade as well too. So for those reasons, again, that's the same money, I would go with the powered reel mower personally. So that would be my thing. You see, right now I use a 7-blade manual reel mower. Yeah, I mean, in other words, going from your 7-blade manual reel mower to the Hudson Star, is there going to be an improvement? Yes. Is it going to be as much improvement as going from the 7-blade to a powered reel mower? In my opinion, no. So I would not do that. I would go with a powered. Plus, it gives you more flexibility too, right? If you ever decided that you wanted to scalp your lawn, doing that with a powered reel mower like the Revolution is a lot. You can actually do it versus with a push reel mower. You know what I mean? So as far as just options for different things you can do with the mower, more flexibility, a powered reel mower has the advantage there. So hope that helps, Lance. Let us know which one you decide to go with. I think they're going to be, I'm not sure exactly when they're releasing it, but Lee was saying, I think on the live stream 2 weeks ago, the end of the year. So look around then to see when they're going to make them available. And then let's see here. Next up is Brian Howell. He says, safest and most affordable way to get rid of mites. Also, should I take care of them now or wait till the spring? North Texas. Yeah, if they're active in your lawn now, Brian, you can control them now if you want. The product that I recommend to folks for mites is a product called Delta Guard. I will get you a link to it right here. You can do some research on it if you like, but I mean, I've recommended it to a lot of folks and they all report back saying that it produces a great result for them. So this is what I would use. You can get it on Amazon. It's not a product that we currently carry at this point. It says for mites. There you go. So hope that helps, sir. And then next up is Tillman Walters. It says, when you mow and moths fly out of the grass, is there something you can do to kill them, the larvae, before they hatch? Yes, insecticide. So, as far as keeping lawn damaging insects out of your lawn from a preventative standpoint, what I would say is apply acelepryn in April and then apply it again in August. And you really should not have a problem with lawn damaging insects. So whether they be grubs or armyworms, you really should be good to go. You're not going to have an issue with either of them because of the residual in acelepryn. Like the application earlier in the year is really going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for keeping grubs away. And then for armyworms, your August application is also going to help with that. So I'd say preventative insecticide apps are what I would recommend, Tillman. And if you are saying, well, when should I do that? I'm not absolutely sure when I should do my insecticide apps. You can simply go to resources and our lawn care schedule and then go to the monthly application calendar, because in here we have insecticide app in April and then the insecticide app in August. You can simply just follow this and you'll be good to go. So I'll link that in the chat for you. It's got the links to the products there as well. And that should get you all squared away. Again, I'm a big fan of preventing both lawn diseases and also insect damage or damaging insects prior to them becoming a problem. Even more so than like weeds. Like you have to realize as far as I'm taking care of weeds in my lawn, I pull a ton of weeds. I pull weeds much like, a ton of times before I get out there and spray herbicides. Really the only difference for that is when I'm dealing with like the mulch beds, that I will spray I'll take glyphosate and fusilate and use it in there to keep the Bermuda out of it and also to get rid of like the spurs that tends to grow in there. But for the lawn, I like weeds. Like I am a lot more, I won't say tolerant, but I get rid of them just using more of a natural approach. But when it comes to like disease and lawn insects, the problem with those is that once you're seeing the results from them, like the effects of the damage they've caused, in many ways it's too late. Like even if you put out a fungicide or you put out an insecticide then to stop the problem from getting worse, you're still looking at 2 to 3 weeks for the lawn to recover from that. So I prefer to avoid that in the first place by using a preventative app. So take a look at that calendar, Tillman. Those dates, the time frames, recommendations that are on there work well. Like a lot of people use that and they get really good results using it. So hopefully you'll be able to do that and you'll get good results too. All right, Kevin Dow is up next. Let me move this over here. Is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, have you used Resilon before? Seems to be stronger concentration compared to Spectacle. I've not. Is it? I'm not even sure if that's even labeled for use on residential lawns. It might be, but I haven't had a real need to go away from Spectacle. I mean, whatever the percentage of active ingredient that's in this, yeah, 7.4% in Dazaflam. That's enough because it does a great job. So even though the other products may have higher concentrations, one thing for sure, Kevin. First of all, make sure that it's labeled for use on residential turf grass. So that's first thing one. And then second, I don't think you even necessarily need more active ingredient. I mean, again, Spectacle works great with the 7% that's in there. All right, Randy is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, I'm starting to get a lot of leaves on my yard with Bermuda slowing growth in the coming months. Would it be okay to leave them there and mulch some up, or should I keep the lawn clean? Thanks." Depends on how much. If you're getting, a few leaves here and there, and you want to mulch them, that's fine. If you're getting to the point to where the entire lawn is covered in leaves, I wouldn't mulch that much material back into the lawn. I wouldn't do that. It depends on how many leaves we're talking about. A few here and there, sure. But if you say you went away for a week and you came back and the entire lawn, you can't even see the grass, I would not mulch all of that. I would get rid of that if it were me. So it depends on how many leaves we're dealing with. Let me see here. Prudence Zappa says, "Oh my God, I am among other lawn nerds." Yes, welcome. Come sit down. Pull up a chair and have a beverage. Yeah, you are in good company now, Prudence. Man, that's funny. He says, "Oh my God, other lawn nerds." Yeah, man. There are worse things you could be doing on a Friday night, right? I mean, come on. This is good, clean, wholesome fun. All right, Romeo Laysock is up next. He says, Romeo, "Hey Ron, first time chatting. Welcome." He says, "Can you come to Columbia, South Carolina and make a class in my front and backyard?" Probably not. I mean, here's the thing. There's not a lot, Romeo, that I'm going to tell you if I were there in person that I'm not going to tell you either, or haven't already said either on blog posts or the existing YouTube content, or the YouTube shorts. I mean, it's going to be the same thing. I haven't been to Columbia in forever. I used to have to go there for work. That's like 3.5 hours from me, something like that. But I mean, we've got on the Golf Course Lawn Store, you've got the blogs with all these topics on, raking versus mulching leaves. Get like the question that where is he? That Randy just asked. Randy, look, we have a blog post on that. Should you rake leaves or should you mulch leaves? So I can send you there as well at Randy. There you go. So go read that. That talks about, which one, what are the pros and cons of each. For example, if your lawn, I'll give you an example in this picture. If your lawn looks like the far lawn, like what you see, there's a lot of green showing and you want to mulch that, I wouldn't be too opposed to that. If your lawn looks like the lawn that's closer to us, where it's all covered in leaves, I would not mulch that. Like that, in my opinion, that is too much. So we purposely got a picture that showed both options, so whether you should mulch or rake. So read through this. Again, I just linked it there in the chat for you. But for your question, Romeo, outside of topics on mulching and those types of things, you've got blogs on diseases, on getting rid of particular sedges, on a lot of the common weeds. We've got specific blog posts on them. So a lot of what you want to learn, honestly, is right here. It's like taking the best of my knowledge, best of what I know, and put them into these blog posts. And I do my best to get one out every single week. So as long as there's a new topic, something I haven't covered yet, we get it written and put it out there. And, so you guys have like a catalog or a library of things you can take a look at. So hope that helps, sir. Next up is James Smith. He says, "Okay, Ron, I'm an ultra runner. Which would select What should you select, running with me or trying skiing? Remember, Jamaica had a Winter Olympics team. I would pick, if I had a choice between, okay, well, that doesn't mean anything. So running with you, do I have to stay with you the whole time, or can I run for like 3 miles and be like, okay, you win and just be done with it? Or do I have to run as long as you're running? Like I have to stay out there the whole time when you're out there? Because I could die doing that. That's probably like a really bad plan. So if it's either that or skiing for like 5 minutes, I'd probably do skiing for 5 minutes. But if I gotta, because I don't really like running either. I don't like either of those two things. I like gym, could actually go to the gym, calisthenics all day long, plyometrics all day long, no problem. Love doing that. Love push-ups, love doing all that kind of stuff. Don't really like running. I'm not a runner, and I don't like cold weather. So you found the two things that I don't really like, James. I don't understand this. It's like you're trying to get in my head. James Smith said, with skiing, that's mostly while our warm season lawn is dormant. I have to get some help during the growing season, help the lawn when traveling to ultra marathon runs. See, you could have just left the ultra off. Just marathon sounds awful. Like I know a guy personally that did a marathon. It was like 26.2 miles, whatever it is. And I saw what he did to train for it. Like him training for it was horrible. And then he actually did it. He completed the entire marathon. He was really, excited. Oh, I pulled it off, and it was really good. He was broken for like a week after that. Like, I mean, even though he did all this training leading up to it, it was terrible. So I mean, I guess for you, it's probably one marathon is probably nothing. But I don't know, man. We have cars, so I don't need to run that far. So, but if you enjoy it, doesn't really matter. You enjoy it, you do it. You do what you enjoy. Do you? All right, there's things I enjoy doing that I'm sure that you probably don't enjoy doing. So there's that. Let's see. Jimmy Miller is up next. He says, the last few weeks I've been totally blown away by the number of people who are switching to real mowing. It's amazing at just how many people today are switching. Yeah, I mean, because if you have the time to do it, because that's the biggest thing for me is when people ask me, should I start real mowing my lawn? The question I always ask them is, how much time do you have? Because you can't approach real mowing the way you approach like mowing your lawn with a rotary mower. It's never going to really look good. If you want it to look like that manicured look, the biggest investment is not the fertilizer, it's not the mower, it's time. It's the amount of time it takes to do it. So, it's as long as you got the time to do that, I think you absolutely should. If you have the grass type that's appropriate for it, real mowing is awesome. And the lawn looks great. It's better for the lawn. It causes less injury to the lawn. It looks incredible. It's just, you have to have the time to consistently do it. Like real mowing demands consistency. You can't be someone that like, I'm going to do it, a couple times this week and then I'll take like 2 weeks off. It's not going to work. You have to have the time to consistently do it, which means you have to kind of enjoy it, right? Otherwise it's not going to happen. You have to like real mowing, like James likes ultra marathoning. It has to be like a thing for you where it doesn't even feel like work. All right, Stephen Wynn is up next. He says, yep, I was late on insecticide and have armyworms, thinking about doing another application. I'm not sure what you applied, Stephen. If you applied a Celoprin, you really shouldn't have to do another app. Like one should be enough. You really shouldn't have to do a follow-up if you recently did that application. Like in the last month or so, you should be good to go. You shouldn't have to do another one. All right, next up is Evan D on Frio says, do you have a lawn Bible that goes over everything from A to Z when renovating, removing an existing turf and starting over with different turf and everything that needs to be done in between? So no, I don't have, that's a good point. I don't actually have a renovation guide. As far as like a collection of various topics, you've got the blog here. You've also got our knowledge base, which has some longer form stuff, like a beginner's guide to lawn care, which for someone that's brand new, like you decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to take care of my own lawn. What do you need to know? What equipment do you need to know? What kind of grass you need to have? Why soil testing is important? What are some practices you need to pay attention to, like aeration? What's the right products to use? What's a fertilizer? What's a herbicide? Like as soon as you know absolutely nothing, like there's a lot of really great content here in the knowledge base. And then the more directed pieces, like to answer a specific question, those are in the blog post. So while I don't have one on renovation, that's a good idea, Evan, and something I'll probably put together. I'll work on putting that together for you. This is going to cover a lot of what you're after. The long and short of it is if you're going to do a renovation, you're going to want to get rid of your existing lawn. So use a non-selective herbicide to get rid of that, to kill that off, and then prepare the lawn. So get the debris out, get the any weeds, any other garbage that you killed off by getting the lawn ready out of the lawn. I am a fan of doing a light top dressing as a part of doing that. So like a rich compost is a good idea. And then depends on what you're doing. If you're doing sod, install your sod and water and let the lawn root in. If you're doing seed, apply your grass seed, and the same thing, water it and allow it to root in. If you do grass seed, what you're going to typically find is you're going to have a lot of the lawn that's going to grow in really well, but there's going to be some areas of the lawn for no good reason that are just going to be behind. They're going to lag behind. So you may have to go back and revisit those with more grass seed. It does take longer to establish a lawn from seed than it does from sod. And unless your lawn is really large, I am a big fan of telling people to go with sod over grass seed. Most people think that using grass seed is cheaper. And I mean, at certain sizes it is, but the benefit of going with sod for renovation is that once you kill off your existing lawn, you can go from like no lawn, from like bare dirt to lawn in like a weekend. Whereas with grass seed, depending on the kind of grass you're going to try and grow in, it could be weeks, it can be several weeks. And during that time, because you've got all this bare dirt, you're going to have more weed pressure you're going to fight with or have to clean up after the fact. So most people that take on seeding projects don't realize what they're really signing up for. So I highly recommend that even though sod may seem like it's a bit more expensive, in the long run for most lawns, I think it's a less expensive way to go, because one, you get the instant gratification of like, hey, I've now got a new lawn with this new grass stuff that I want. And it just takes less time to establish than a lawn from seed. You have to be less careful with it. So hope that helps. Check out the different resources on the Golf Course Lawn Store. Evan, if you've not been there, you can just go to golfcourselawn.com and that will take you there. In the resources section, we'll have all the various topics that should help you out. All right. Brian Howell says, thanks, Ron. Is the granular definitely the way to go, or would it be applying the liquid be just as effective? Either way, you can use the liquid or the granular. It's really dealer's choice. Whichever one you prefer is which one you can use. They're both going to work well. You tend to get faster results with liquid versus the granular, but whichever you prefer to use, you can do that, and it's going to work just fine. All right, Stephen Thompson is up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron. One more round of flagship and turfplex before October hits. Spectacle will go down the end of the month or end of next, depending on temps here in Dallas-Fort Worth. Cheers. Awesome. Sounds like a plan, Stephen. I got you. And then Kevin Dow says, let's see here. Read your blog on a slope lawn. My front is similar to yours. How do you keep your front down when going back up? I push to prevent a wheelie, but it still does going slow. Okay, so the blog on managing a slope lawn, the big thing I tell you, Kevin, is to mow. What I found works best is to mow diagonally. So say this soil test kit is our slope lawn. Like there's 3 ways to mow really a slope lawn, or really any lawn, but a slope, there's 3 different ways you can do it. In my opinion, only 2 of those ways are correct. You can mow up and down the slope. This is what I would consider not correct for a couple of reasons. One, from a safety standpoint, if you slip, you can much more likely to injure yourself. The cut is going to be the least good mowing up and down the slope, so don't do that. In my opinion, it's not a great way to do it. The second way to mow it is to mow lengthwise. This is a lot better than mowing up and down. One, because it's a lot safer. If you decide to be hard-headed and mow the lawn up and down, what you're going to find is this. When you mow up, going uphill, the height of the cut is going to be lower. And then when you're going downhill, the cut is going to be higher. So you're going to have like these like low, high, like stripes in your lawn. And it's going to be pretty visually apparent, especially if you have a more extreme slope. So for all those reasons, I really wouldn't recommend going up and down. Next is to mow lengthwise, which is better than mowing up and down. But the negative to that is that you're going to tend to have this like terracing effect, where the side of the mower that is lower is going to cut lower than the side of the mower that's higher. So it's going to be subtle, but you're going to be able to tell. You're going to be able to see it. If you go and look at the lawn from the side, you're able to see like a high to low, then high to low, then a high to low stripe. And it's going to be this way in both directions. It's going to look kind of weird. It's not terrible, but it's not the greatest look in my opinion. The best way, again, in my opinion, is to mow diagonally because the weight of the mower is more evenly distributed. If you're mowing up and down, either the way the mower is behind, or if you're going downhill, it's more on the nose. If you're mowing lengthwise, whichever side of the mower is lower, that side of the reel is going to cut lower than the side that's higher up. Whereas if you mow diagonally, it's the best of both worlds as far as more evenly distributing the weight of the mower over the surfaces as you're making your pass. Because what we're after to get the best cut is to keep the mower flat against the surface, as flat as possible. And the easiest way to do that on a slope is to make a diagonal pass. It's going to be the weight of the mower is going to be more evenly distributed. So give that a shot. What you can do is, if you decide you want to mow lengthwise, I would still finish up with a diagonal mow, because that's going to produce, again, the most even cut in my opinion. So hope that helps. You're going to find that the mower's not going to want to pop a wheelie as much if you're mowing diagonally than if you're going up and down. And the cut in general is just going to be better. Again, it depends on how bad the slope is. If you're talking like a serious grade, 45-degree grade or something, then that's going to be, I question why you even want to really mow that. You're going to have challenges with that. But if you're dealing with a grade that's like my lawn, then which you can see in that video, mowing diagonally is going to produce the best result for you. Okay, next up, I need some wheelie bars on the mower. Nah, I think you just gotta work on your technique, man. Just work on your technique. It'll get better with time. And then next up is Sean G. He says, hey, Ron, thanks for your customer support today with my order. I plan to apply Spectacle Flow tomorrow on my zoysia here in Atlanta. Can I also spray the golf course lawn liquid fertilizer and micronutrient tomorrow? You can. I would not spray them at the same time as Spectacle, though. So here's how I would go about it. I would spray the micronutrient first, say in the morning, allow that time to dry. And then if you want to spray, say, Spectacle in the afternoon in the evening, that would be better, because the liquid fertilizer and micronutrient really should be sprayed with a fine droplet spray tip for best results, and they should be sprayed and then allowed to dry on the lawn. Whereas Spectacle, you want to use a larger droplet spray tip, and then you want to water that in after application. So what I would say is, if you're going to do it all tomorrow, do the foliar spray in the morning, allow the lawn to dry, and in the afternoon, do your application of Spectacle Flow. And then the following day, so we're doing this all tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, if you have irrigation, you could run your irrigation to water the Spectacle Flow in, because that'll be plenty of time, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, and again, man, thanks for understanding. We're gonna get you taken care of. Again, it's like damage happens, unfortunately, when things get shipped sometimes, and I guess the biggest thing you could say is the mark of a good business is like, what happens when things go wrong? Do they take care of you? And we always try to do our best to try and make sure that, you guys are taken care of. So again, apologies for the inconvenience. But I've already got a ticket open with the warehouse to get your replacement sent out to you. So get you all squared away. All right. Next up is James Smith. He says, calling it in the evening. You see, this is ultra marathoner guys. They can't stay up super late. They can't hang. He says, calling it in the evening. I have a long run in the morning, and I want to try and beat the rally area. Lawn fam, give the show a like. We all know he sleeps better the more he gets. What are you trying to beat the rally area? Oh, I guess you want to do it when it's still like light traffic out or whatever. I got you, James. I get it, man. I don't know. When I'm running, I guess if you're running 20, 30, 40 miles at a time, yeah, traffic does become a consideration when you're out running on the road. So I get it. Have a good night, sir. Appreciate you in the live stream as always. Be safe out there tomorrow. Sean says, and do you only need to use surfactant with post-emergence, or do I need to use it with pre-emergent and liquid fertilizer? Great question, Sean. So when it comes to using surfactants, no, you would not want to use a surfactant with liquid fertilizer, with our fertilizers that are foliar sprays, or with pre-emergent. Here's why. So the idea behind surfactant is that it's designed to help the product more evenly spread or coat the leaf, and to help it adhere or stick to the plant, so that if you get rainfall, you're less likely to lose it from runoff, from wash off. So surfactant really is something you want to use with herbicides. When it comes to the liquid fertilizer, they're foliar sprays. They already have fulvic acid and kelp, which is going to help with the nutrient uptake. You don't need to really add anything else with them. Just them by themselves is perfectly good. And when it comes to pre-emergent, if you think about it, pre-emergent is designed to get into the soil to work. So us adding like a spray adjuvant that's going to cause it to stick to the leaf of the plant is kind of working against ourselves. So pre-emergent, you would not use a spreader sticker or surfactant. And with most liquid fertilizers, you also would not use a surfactant. So hopefully that helps explain the why behind it. Pretty much herbicides are the only thing on my lawn that I use whenever I'm spraying anything that I use surfactants with. I don't use it for, like with Primo, I don't use it. I mean, could you technically? I guess yes, so, but you got to be careful because you can. Whereas a fertilizer is you're far less likely to have an issue with burning the lawn if you don't use surfactant versus using it. And again, the products the one that you have, the two that you have, these guys, you know what we're talking about. For anyone that doesn't, because Sean knows what he has, but you guys don't know what he has. The two fertilizers that we partner with the Andersons to create, the 22-3 and our liquid micronutrient, are designed to be used without surfactants. You don't have to add any. So I would not do that. I really wouldn't. The only herbicide you really want to use surfactant with are post-emergent herbicides. And there are some that they even say on the label not to do that. Like if you look at like Velocity, I think Velocity, yes. So this one, right? Which is a cool season herbicide for controlling POA Ana and POA trivialis. Like on the label, it specifically says, do not use surfactant with this, just water. That's it, nothing else. So you have some herbicides that will either already have surfactants in them, so in that case, you don't really need it, or there's some to where surfactant makes them too aggressive, so they recommend against it. So outside of that, I'd say just really limit your surfactant use for just herbicides. Definitely not for pre-emergent, and not for any of the liquid fertilizers that we carry on the store. I really wouldn't do that. All right. Next up, you have Robert Marks. He says, where are we? He says, hey, Ron, I've noticed I have some thinning areas that has root pruning in my Bermuda since I've been using Spectacle in the fall and Dimension in the spring. I did a split app of Spectacle last year. I've not experienced that, Robert. I've not experienced that. I say make sure you watch your rates. It takes a lot less Spectacle than people think. For example, I can show you here. This is not Spectacle Flow, it's a solid prune, but I use one of these for mixing it. Like the amount of Spectacle Flow that you would use over 4,000 square feet if you're using the multiple applications is this much. So 0.4 ounces. 0.4 ounces in 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet, or the per 1,000 square foot rate would be, come on, focus, would be that, 0.10 ounces. So if you look at that, like that doesn't look like very much product in a gallon of water. And the temptation a lot of people have, I'm not saying that you necessarily did this, but a lot of people have, they'll look at that and they'll be like, there's no way that little bitty bit of that product in a gallon of water is going to do it. And they tend to pad it a little bit. And I would implore you, especially with something like Spectacle, don't do that. You don't need to. So I'd say check your rates, make sure you're sticking to the rates. Especially if you're doing multiple applications, just stick to the rates. If anything, bias on the lower end of the application rates, and you should get a good result. That's what I would look at if you're having issues with root pruning. So hope that helps, sir. And then next up is What Up No Fam 24. He says, what up, no Ron from Detroit. This is your hype lawn care man from Detroit. He says, things are starting to slow down as far as lawn care here in Michigan. I hear you, man. It's starting to slow down everywhere. I appreciate you coming to hang out very much. What up, no? Thanks so much. And then Jimmy says, if you could appreciate if you could find someone to refurbish the mowers. I don't have, the person to ask for that is call Real Rollers. Lee's probably gonna cuss me out for saying this, but call them and ask them. They know, as far as like repair shops, they know all the ones in like the Georgia area, like around Atlanta. They're familiar with a lot of them. They'd be able to tell you who could do that. I've never refurbished a mower to be able to tell you who does good work or a man's got to know his limitations. And the last thing I want to do is send you somewhere just because I found that they work on real mowers and you get a bad result and then you're mad at me, right? So ask someone that has a lot more experience, like the nice folks at Real Rollers, or you could come out to the Turf Park party on next weekend and ask someone there, because there's going to be a lot of people there who are going to be into real mowing, and they will be able to share their experiences with different places, different businesses, and they'll be able to say, yeah, these guys are okay, or they did a great job, or I didn't like this, or, that's what I would do. But I would look for someone that enjoys that enjoys doing that. Because remember, like if you just one thing I might think about, Jimmy, is like restoring a mower. If you're trying to restore it and bring it back to original condition, you really want someone that enjoys doing that kind of work. You know what I mean? If you went to a shop that's just treating it just like a job, like we're just trying to get it running, so we're just gonna put new bearings in it and sharpen it and send it back to you. I don't think you're gonna be as happy with the result as someone that actually enjoys that type of thing. So what you're looking for is someone that likes restoring stuff. Not just like a shop that does real mower service. So I would call around, ask the folks at Real Rollers if there's anyone they would recommend. I don't have anyone that I would at this point. So yeah, so hope that helps. Oh, okay. Next up is Kevin Dow. He says, "Yep, I mow. How often do you sharpen your rotary scissors?" I have not had to sharpen mine at all as yet, Kevin. Mainly because the only thing I do is I only cut horizontally with them. I know some people use them for edging. I don't do that with mine, and I've had mine for 2 years now. I forgot when I made the video on it. I think it's been 2 years, at least 2 seasons I've had mine, and they still cut great. So I haven't had to sharpen it just yet. So I guess once every 2 years. I guess maybe something I'll do this fall when the season ends. I'll freshen them up, but I mean I haven't had to just as yet. And then next up, it says, should I do the half rate of spectacle this year and do dimension this spring to help with rooting next season? I also top dress every year with sand and soil. I just have that effect in some areas. Yeah, so you can try that. Try backing the rate down. You know what I mean? Like whenever you look at the rates for herbicides, like it doesn't mean you always necessarily go to the max rate. Like it says go to, you can do up to 10 ounces. Doesn't mean you spray 10 ounces. Case in point, like you look at our fertilizers, we have rates that go all the way up to like 15 ounces per thousand, but I would never recommend that you do that. I mean, you can, but there's just no need for it. So I'm someone that tends to bias towards the lower end of the application rates for products. Like use as little as you have to just look at the desired result for a couple of reasons. One, you tend to get more applications out of it, so you're saving money. And then two, you're not overdoing it to where you can potentially cause adverse problems in the lawn. So start low and then work your way up. And if you feel the need to increase the rates, is what I would say. So if in your case, Robert, you've been sounding like you've been going full rate, back it down, cut it down by a third and see what kind of results you get. Let's see here. Jimmy, he says, I'll plan on attending and I will bring the owner of those mowers with me. Cool. Sounds like fun. And then our last comment of the evening is just Brew Cruise Fishing saying, "Sup, Ron, happy Friday. All the best." I appreciate that, Bruce Cruise. Haven't seen you in a while, but I'm glad to see that you're doing well and that you came in just to say hello. Well, guys, gals, it looks like that is all we have. So on that bombshell, we will cue the outro music. Wish all you guys the best. Have a great weekend. It's a fun weekend. There's football on, probably still on now, so you can watch some NFL if you want. There's going to be some college. You can watch Georgia Bulldogs or some other team if that's your thing. And on the golf course lawn store, we've got your assortment of herbicides, of pre-emergent, of your insecticides, all in stock, ready to go, ready to ship. And we really would like the opportunity to earn your business and to help you in your lawn care journey. Thank you guys so much for coming to hang out in the live stream. Really do appreciate it. I know there's a lot of places you could be on Friday night, but you choose to be here. And I really, really do appreciate that. Have an amazing weekend. If you're getting out there doing something fun in the lawn, be safe. And I will see you guys next week. Take care.